It's insanity, is
Oh,
what it
okay.
is.
So, okay. When CNN calls ivermectin horse dewormer, that's completely above board. But
No, I'll eat the horse paste. Eat the horse paste, bigot. Yeah. And so, I just now hooked up the older backup channel. By the way, like, favorite, and subscribe, ladies and gentlemen. Uh, I'm at the point where I just don't even want to do YouTube anymore. I don't want to do, not necessarily YouTube, like not make videos, but I'm just sick and tired of YouTube. Like, they artificially suppress my fucking channel. They artificially make it so that I can't, do anything. I can't, like, it really honestly feels like fascism. And it's not fascism in the sense of, Mussolini, Hitler, it comes off more akin to, basically, the marriage of corporate and state. I mean, Joe Rogan, he's on YouTube. Fucking, was it Tim Pool? They're on YouTube. Lauren Jun, fucking, Candace even gets to be on YouTube. But the rest of us, we don't get access to YouTube. We don't get to speak our minds. And even if we do, I mean, again, I'm not. Again, part of me thinks it is like they want to control opposition. They want people like Candace because they're ineffectual. They want people like fucking, Crowder because he's ineffectual.
does Richard Spencer still have a YouTube channel?
Oh, I'm almost certain he does. I mean, the fucker still is on Twitter.
Let's see
Why is he still on Twitter? Why is he still allowed to be on Twitter? Why is he allowed to be there?
Yeah, and someone who actually identifies as a white supremacist who said I vote for Joe Biden. Like,
I mean, let me just say this: Spenny is the one thing I could say about Spenny is he knows how to play to dress well. Let me see if I find it. There we go. This is the fucking piece of shit. Let me see if I can find him.
well, as of now, he doesn't have any videos, but videos of him are on. Like he like the good control opposition that he is.
Oh,
Like like the first I wrote Richard Spencer. The first thing is we memed alt right into existence on Vice News. Gary Jung interviews Africans have benefited from white supremacy. I mean, when you define white supremacy as everything that America does,
well, that's what
kind of
Spenny looks like.
well, that's the thing. When people go out there, the funny thing is like when people like Robert DiAngelo say that virtually everything that we do is white supremacy. That means people do technically benefit from white supremacy.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, is that white supremacy at the end of the day is just air supremacy. They just don't understand. Well, they just don't get the fact that it's air supremacy at the end of the day. If I said Canadians should have air supremacy in their own airspace, that no one would be like, hey, yeah, that makes sense. So if you apply the same concept of supremacy to air supremacy, naval supremacy, and military force, you understand why they want white people, white women, or they want white people out of, let's say, the high-paying jobs. They're like Ivy League job, cushy jobs. They'd rather have them work in the mud and shit. That's ultimately what it's about. It's all about culture. It's not about fucking. It's not about building anything. They just want to have the easy jobs. They want the easy life. That's what it means for white supremacy. That's what it means at the end of the day.
So you probably wanted to take the show off in a certain direction, but anything interesting happened recently?
Well, I think it was at the CDC. I believe there was a supposed threat or a false flag regarding smallpox. Remember that shit?
Oh yeah, that. And
Yeah.
also a big sigh of relief to our to the boy Rittenhouse.
Oh yeah, dude. Here's the thing that a lot of people like. I'm actually at the point where I have to keep reminding myself it's just the internet. It can't hurt you, right? Well, it can't hurt you, but point is that it's just the internet, right? And there were people like praising this kid for killing this guy. And I'm thinking to myself, you shouldn't praise anybody for killing anybody, ideally speaking. You shouldn't be that.
Yeah, I have a nice little experience about this. I had the privilege of overhearing a conversation by a bunch of college age girls, and they were talking about how I was like in a public transport situation, and they were talking about what an injustice and how horrible it was, which is stupid. But then one of them said she shared an experience of her own injustice where she said a man sexually assaulted her and she reported him, but he only got like a month of probation or something like that. But then someone came to her afterwards and accused her of being a racist. You know why? Because the assailant was black.
Right. Even though, let's be frank with ourselves, who has the absentee fathers in the communities? It's the blacks. Although I will say this, Whites are getting up there.
But
They are.
but here's the funny part: like the same mentality that tells her that Kyle Rittenhouse should be in jail is the same mentality that said that she was a racist for wanting to put a black man in jail.
Well, the thing that pisses me off about the whole Rittenhouse thing is that, again, like I said, it's the internet. It's just the internet. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing bad about it. It's just I'm getting sick and tired of the internet. Like they find out, oh, the guy who he killed apparently was his girlfriend was sad and felt bad for Rittenhouse. He's like, oh, he's gonna fuck Rittenhouse. He's gonna cuck the guy as well. I'm like, what the fuck? Like I've often been like very much pro Rittenhouse, but at the same time, that kid is he's supposed to be having a mental again. It's really fucked up what's happening. It really is. You have the internet basically cheering him on, which this should not happen. I mean, it's basically like a fucking, it's like high school fucking fight. Like everyone's circling around saying fight, fight, fight. I think it's that Simpsons meme where they have like the monkeys on the boat and they're all fighting each other with knives and shit.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's around them. That's sort of what it is, despite the fact that this kid, he has basically destroyed his life. I mean, not to say that he's in the wrong or anything. He can't go back home. If he goes back home, there's always going to be that one cowboy who wants to fucking shoot him or challenge him to a fucking duel or something, or somebody just wants to go up behind him and assault him. And I don't think that's a good idea.
Well, maybe he'll be able to afford a new location after he sues everyone. After he sues everybody for defamation and wins.
He's 17 years of age, dude. He doesn't have a lot of money, and if he does get the money from the defamation, why the fuck should he leave? Why should he leave? Why should he be allowed to leave? Why shouldn't? They suck. Why does he have to change, right?
Yeah.
So he's 17 years old. He doesn't have many contacts. And again, who's going to hire him? Who's going to hire him? He's 17, right? To turn 18 now. Who will hire the Kenosha kid?
Oh,
who's going to?
That's
seriously.
That's a nice name.
Yeah, who's going to hire him? Who will hire Kyle Rittenhouse after this? Well, people say, well, he's going to get in law enforcement. No law enforcement will touch this man. He's just way too hot when it comes to his reputation. They will never touch him. The law enforcement, at least. The best thing we could hope for is to get him access to.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm trying to cut this audio off.
No, it's all good. It's all good. It's just,
someone made a Rittenhouse appreciation video.
Yeah, well, I made one as well, but the difference here is everyone's trying to make it about was the old archetype. Yeah, they're glorifying. Don't fetishize this guy. He just did his job. That's it. That's all he did. Well, not even his job. He just protected himself. There's nothing wrong with what he did. There's nothing. But he should not be emulated.
And what's really stupid is that he and the people he was with, they were doing the job that the cops were not going to do.
Exactly.
That's stupid on so many levels.
That's one of the reasons why I've kept telling people, this kid should never have been there. He should, why is a 17-year-old having to go out there, a little fucking baby? I mean, what the fuck was I doing at 17? How was I doing? What were you doing, Luke? I was
17.
worried about freaking, the prom and, oh, can I get a car? Can I buy a Mustang? I didn't think about fucking shooting someone. And keep in mind, he's a killer now.
Oh, look, and here's our friendly neighborhood pedophile egging them on and calling them the N-word.
Yeah, honestly, the whole thing is a fucking disgrace. That man none of them should have been there. The cops are the ones who failed this. They're the ones who failed.
And of course they shouldn't even brought to trial. And the prosecution was an absolute. I mean, anyone who's watched the trial saw how the prosecution literally fell apart in their own hands with some of their witnesses being witnesses for the defense.
Part of me thinks a lot of that is it was rigged in Kyle Rittenhouse's favor simply because, let's be frank with ourselves, if he actually had let me just say this, he's lucky. He really is lucky that he had that judge. I constantly have almost a phoenix-like endurance to the law enforcement, of endearment, I should say. And the reason it's phoenix-like is because I keep burning up. I get reborn, and then they burn the bridge again. They constantly they're not my friends. Okay, the police are not our friends. They simply aren't. And that's not me saying that they're bad people. It's just that they're not your friends. They're there to enforce the law. They're not your pals. They're not your your whatever you want to call it. They're not those people. And at the same time, I have a love-hate relationship with them. But the police should have been there. They absolutely should have, because no one wants to talk about the mental health of this kid. Again, I've oftentimes was thinking about how if this kid, if he went out over to, if he listens to the media too much, especially on the right wing, because the right wing's telling him keep shooting him, like it's like really, really like grade school the fight type of shit. It really is. And the thing that's upsetting to me is that, again, this kid he's just a kid. He's only a boy. He's only a boy. It's upsetting is what it is. I guess that's what I'm trying to get across, is that his life is destroyed. He's not going to have a life outside of this unless he changes his name, which I think he absolutely should change his name. He shouldn't have to, but that's something that has to happen. I've said before, he should definitely go into witness protection. I don't know. You still there, Luke?
I'm still here.
Yeah.
I'm just making sure our feed is going okay.
No, the feed is good. It's just I'm having a hard time trying to share this shit because again, Wojcicki keeps fucking medical misinformation. I don't know what I said. I mean, at this point, I don't know.
Because normally see it would, because the stream is not even telling us that we have people watching. At least not telling me. I'm just the outsider looking at the numbers.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at it right now, and it says we have like 2-3 people watching. Stupid. I don't fucking know. I don't know. All I know is...
then again, this is the smaller channel, so it only has 20 subscribers.
Yeah, exactly. 20? Is it 20? If I had 30, I had 20. Okay, that's fine.
Whichever the numbers say at any given moment.
It's all good. It's all good at the end of the day, because I'm going to share this off with my Discord server, get them to join in.
It's so dumb that we have to contact other people through other means. But I guess that is kind of the romance of our position, being the outsiders.
We have to contact people by other means? I don't know what you mean.
Yeah, rather than just you're being locked out for medical and misinformation. Now you have to contact other people through Twitter and Discord.
Yeah, I have to basically yeah, exactly. And it just upsets the shit out of me that I have to do this. Because, again, I don't know what I did wrong. They don't have, a highlighted clip. They don't say anything. And a lot of this is because of the Pajit, the fucking people from the third world who come in, they take the jobs, and they don't do their job right. They don't do any of it. It's just... They don't change... again, YouTube's gone downhill because of the H-1B visa. That's what it boils down to. You have a guy who barely fucking's been in the country for, 5 minutes. He doesn't speak very fluent English, and if he does speak fluent English, he doesn't understand, social cues. Like if I say, right back at you, buddy, or something like that, he'll take offense to it or something along those lines. A lot of the problems is it self-inflicted. It's self-inflicted because of, it's self-inflicted. That's all I gotta say about that. But, the thing that just upsets me is that, there's just, it's so hard to start a YouTube channel. It used to be easy. Just turn on the computer, turn on YouTube, and you get in. Guess what I got? I got more views on BitChute than Odyssey, which, by the way, Odyssey, I've been trying to get Odyssey to work, but there's nothing to do. Again, the biggest problem I have is with these YouTube platforms is that they're, one, dominated by Stick, Sex, and Hammer, which I'll just say right now, there's nothing wrong with that inherently, but he has had a history of going after people. That communist fellow, that Caleb fucker, whatever the hell his name is, he did raid him. So I wonder, at what point can I say that I'm being fucked with? Well, actually, I can't even really claim to be censored. I could definitely say I'm being raided. I could definitely claim that, but I don't think I'd be being censored because of Sticks or because of someone's attention span is they'd rather watch a Sticks video or a Razorfist video, which I'd rather watch a Razorfist video, honestly.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Razor is better. He has more of the energy and that oomph to him.
More compact, and more engaging.
Yeah, he's very entertaining to listen to. I would love to see that son of a bitch debate somebody. I want to see Ben Shapiro take on fucking a Stick. What's his name? Ben Shapiro take on Razorfist. I think that would be a perfect like a rap battle almost.
How are they in the same universe? How do they overlap?
Well, probably because they both talk at the speed of light and actually are coherent.
Yeah, but Oh, but that would be interesting because like the typical, like a good meme lord that is Razor Fist is, he jokes at Ben as well. Let me find that clip.
Well, I mean, Ben is basically a joke. I mean, he only exists because of. Well, he only exists because of his dad who got him that position. You could ask Tay Spaghetti that. You know. In fact, if you think about it, Tay Spaghetti. I don't think Ben Shapiro would debate Razor simply because he's with Tay Spaghetti's people. You know.
Yeah, that's true.
And I'll be frank, Ben Shapiro is basically the modern day Machiavelli. He only exists, and I'll just say it right now. Like, if YouTube continues to like bolster certain content creators while fucking over the little guy, it's going to become like Blip TV. And we all remember what happened to Blip TV, right?
Vaguely. Remind me again.
Oh, basically, what happened was it was like the first monetization platform you could actually make money off of, right?
Ah, yes.
And you off your videos and your content. Here's the problem, though. That guy with the glasses just ate up all the market share. Like, nobody wanted to watch anybody but that guy with the glasses on there.
Oh,
that
yeah, because
angry video game nerd.
Do you have to pay for subscriptions, or do you have to?
No, you didn't have to pay. You just had to have enough subscribers. You have to make enough content.
And they basically monopolize all the attention, so no one else could make it.
Yep, that's basically what's happening, and that's sort of what's happening here. Also, we have an entire generation that has basically built up this platform, and nobody is being allowed to use it because they're frightened of medical misinformation, or because I said, "Oh, this person's stupid." I can't even dislike things anymore.
It's an excuse. It's not real.
What?
I'm sure it's just a coincidence that people who hand out medical misinformation are the same people who disagree with YouTube politically.
Maybe. I mean, I'm surprised I got hit by that of all things. I mean, I'm actually one of the few people who actually talks about the Russian connection and shit like that.
Oh yeah, and that's been coming on the other people recently, right? You've been showing me all those you were showing me the videos by the Timcast kind of crowd, but yeah, the basically that's been coming out more and more prevalent, especially with the author.
Yeah, and it's because we're the 40-year plan that's in the Osnova Geopolitiki Foundation of Geopolitics. We're in year 23, so we're over the apex. We're halfway through this shit.
Well, here's that Ben Shapiro clip.
Yep.
Game's gonna be about. That said, I'm not sure this game is quite short enough. Spider-Man is the Ben Shapiro of superhero games, shorter than a list of Movie Bob's favorite vegetables, with witticisms credited to just one man, but in fact crafted by a team of thousands. I see you, Ben.
I see you, Ben. Let's actually go back. What did he do? Did he like it? What did he do?
What?
I see you, Ben.
Oh, here it is.
Team of thousands. I see.
Okay, this is epic. Fuck you, Ben.
This is epic.
Fuck you.
Personality YouTube gives. Is this a real tweet or a real comment? What is this?
This, I don't know. I mean, you could very well argue that you could look up the date.
Yahoo News YouTube personality Razorfist gives Ben Shapiro the business.
Yeah, that's fake. That's fucking fake. That's almost certainly fake. I mean, would Yahoo News publish Razorfist with his brim handle? I'm just saying. I don't think they would. I don't know.
Yeah, this is just for fun.
No, but like the thing that really pissed me off about this is I got into a little bit of a kerfuffle with I wouldn't say a kerfuffle. I like Jack Murphy. Jack Murphy is a great guy. My issue, this is where the Christians in the audience pay attention, fucking Christians. He buys into traditionalism. Like, he bought into traditionalism hook, line, and sinker. Actually, I want to share this.
Oh, he is. He is a traditionalist.
He basically is. He's gone over to the other side, and it's sad part
about. But here's the question, though. In our previous discussions, the book that you told me about, it kind of seems like people are making their own versions of traditionalism to combat other forms of traditionalism. So is this how that's working?
Well, that's the problem. I'd rather be safe than sorry. I'd rather be the guy who says, this is defective by design. Stay the fuck away from it. Don't touch it. It's bad for you.
Oh, yeah, Jack Murphy's latest video. The globalists want you to be soy-based in body and spirit. And that's kind of interesting because I was just in a chat somewhere else, and someone has said, like, it's very healthy. It's very, like, one of the ways, like, they were talking about why we don't listen to other people for medical and for advice. And they said that one of the reasons why Asian women don't have breast cancer is because they have a soy diet.
Right. No, I don't think that's the case. But I wanted to show you this because I want to show you an example of the rhetorical tricks that these fuckers play. And again, I don't hate Jack. I'm sticking to the whole notion of a good soldier never leaves a man behind. You know,
any particular video, like?
No, I actually have screen caps.
Okay. Let's have
I have screen caps. I want to pull this up. I don't want to bash Jack. This is not me trying to bash Jack. I don't want to bash him. I don't want to, cause ill will to him. But at the same time, Jack, if you're a Christian, you should look into this shit and realize that this crap is basically the one world religion that people talk about in the end times. They talk about the one world religion, the idea that all religions are going to combine together in like Babylon type of shit, right?
Oh boy.
What do you think traditionalism is? It basically rips off the entire notion of. It basically says that all religions come from a single religion originally. Yeah. So it very much is a New World Order type of religion.
Yeah, and that all religions have some variant of the original religion, which is actually very similar to what Nazis thought about Arianism.
Well, you do know that a lot of traditionalists followed the fascist Italy and followed Hitler. I mean, the whole reason why what was his name? Julius Evola was even a part of the fascist party because he wasn't a fascist, believe it or not. He really wasn't. He was brought on because he was able to communicate with Hitler and all the rest of the crazy shit and said, "Oh yeah, we're spiritual Arians, dude. We may be Italian spaghetti eating pasta chokers, but we're spiritual Arians. Could you guys give me some money? Could you guys give me some resources for this war? It'd be really awesome." That's all he was there for. He was
the grifter. So the grifter really is the oldest profession.
Well, it is. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I've told people these fucking these traditionalists are grifters. How many of them are going to say they're the merchant class? How many of them are going to say that they are not the warrior, not the priest, not the shaman? How many of them are going to say they're the common man? They're all the people who think that they can run society. They have a central planner's mindset. Now, let's look at this for a second.
Take a look at this first.
Late modernity. Here we go. Yeah, there you go. Now, I have the whole clip. I could put it out there if you want. It's still out there. He hasn't deleted the tweets that I'm aware of. Because his argument makes sense. And that's what he's talking about. He's talking about Dugan. His arguments make sense. The American elite is a global threat. Keep in mind, the original book that Dugan wrote was written in 1997. We've had 4 different fucking presidencies since that time. Okay, Clinton, you had fucking Bush, you had fucking Obama, and now we had Trump. And now we have Biden. Okay, we had 4 different fucking presidents. So what American elites? Like, that's the issue I have with these fucking traditionalists, is that it's so simple to buy into this crap. And I'm even I'm trying to be very specific about this. That's one of the things why I consider myself a conspiracy journalist as opposed to a conspiracy theorist. I don't have theories about the Masons taking over the world. I actually have evidence to back my claim if that's the case. Give it up, dude. Trump and his allies are pushing the massive lie that still their dossier was a Russian scandal. No. And I even said it's that Igor motherfucker. See, Igor. It's not Igor, it's Igor. That's what it is. It's like Frankenstein.
But I want the American elite to leave me alone too. The globalist American empire is a threat to us all, and our founders would say the same. Okay, so are we... But yeah...
So for the record... Objectively speaking, he's saying the American elite, which he never defines who. He doesn't say Ben Bernanke. He doesn't say Janet Yellen. He doesn't say the Obamas or the Clintons. He doesn't give a direct refutation, a direct response. It's like me saying the Jews, and I'm just talking about Ben Shapiro and Billy Crystal. Yes, technically they are the Jews, but that doesn't mean anything.
Yes, they are Jews, but they are not the Jews.
They are not the Jews we're looking for. We could go about our business then. And I give direct examples of why this is the case. But this fucker up above them, what the hell is his name? The Dragon's Tavern, keeps excusing it. I've shown the data. I've given the fucking ISBN number so people can look this shit up. I've quoted the fucking book. But, oh my God, the global empire of America. No. Why are you listening to the guy who literally wrote in the book of Foundational Geopolitics about trying to establish an empire? He's claiming to be anti-imperialist. He's a fucking narcissist, and he's a liar. The motherfucker's a liar.
So what was the purpose of him interviewing the author of the book?
Interviewing the author of who?
The author of Banner in the far right coalition.
I don't know. Maybe to get. I don't know. But I'll tell you this.
Here, oh yeah, Banner's mythical origin. Here he is. He interviews the guy who that wrote the book on the Banner's traditionalism.
Yeah, show it. Bring it in here.
Here he is.
Had a vibrant spirituality to it, and when he gets to college, as did a lot of people in this age. I mean, we're talking 70s here. A lot of especially young white men got really into Buddhism. A lot of young white Jewish men, as in particular, the Jews is a.
Go look up Alan Watts. Go look up what was his name? Not Rene Descartes. What the fuck is his name? Terence McKenna. That fucker. Or what the hell is his name? Robert Anton Wilson. I was big into Robert Anton back in the day, but then I realized he was a fucking piece of shit. And I'll keep going.
Is a phenomenon unto itself. But Bannon, he gets into Buddhism. He continues this interest. He continues it more or less in secret as well throughout his years in the Navy, when he really becomes a kind of a hardcore dude, conservative, especially on the outside guy. He's very, very interested in spirituality. One thing that I actually had my research assistants help me with is I talked to him about his years in the Navy when he would travel around to different seaports, and he would just start name dropping in the cities where his destroyer was docked, the names of the local metaphysical New Age bookstores with the incense and the crystals and all that stuff. And he knew the names of all of them. And we went through and we found where they were. We found what they were called. I mean, so anywhere he was going, he had a mental map of how to get to the nearest, place to buy a book and cleanse the chakra and everything. And so he's continuing to do this somewhere.
This guy claims to be a Catholic. At some point, like, even my grandfather, my godfather, me, both of us agree, there needs to be a fucking reckoning. There needs to be a cleaning out and saying, you are excommunicated until you get your shit in order. Like, we need to just clear out the fucking the church, because there are a lot of heretics out there.
Yeah. In this video, they actually say that traditionalists looked at Catholicism as a source of traditionalism because it preserves some element of paganism, and they call it the paganism of Catholicism.
I'm like, you are fucking stupid. You are stupid. Because by that very same rationale, people like Varg, the little Satanist fucker that he is, the little Nordic Satanist fucker, he would be in favor of that. But I'm sure, Varg will basically say, this is bullshit. This is all New Age, reinterpretation of what was said. There's no historical value to it. And if there was, it's basically just fanciful associations anyway. So what the fuck?
Oh, there is one argument about certain things being adopted to increase church attendance, but that doesn't mean that they're trying to preserve the paganism. They're trying to get more converts.
They're trying to get more converts, and they're also trying to respect the I don't want to use the tradition, but the
sensibilities,
cultural norms, if that makes any sense. I think it was the Vikings. They had to have the notion of afterlife, and hell was considered. Hell is, we got the word hell from Hela. I know this because a Bulbasaur helped kill a hell priest, apparently. I remember that shit. No, but in all honesty, traditionalism is the one world religion. I'm almost certain of it. If I were to put money on something, traditionalism and I would say the perennial doctrine is considered the one world religion, especially nowadays, because they're basically saying that Hinduism, Islam, Christianity, Buddhism, Nordic, Vedic traditions, the Norse mythology, Greek mythology, it's all the same. And I'm thinking to myself, no, it's not. And for you to try to do that is to try to connect the two is borderline heresy in some cases. And in some cases, it would put you in a position where you would basically piss off a lot of people, Now, again, fucking, what's his name? Not Bannon. What the hell's his name? Murphy just didn't want to listen. He's like, it makes too much sense. Like, I like his worldview. He's so good. And I'm like, have you ever considered the guy lied to you? We know that the fucking guy's book is being used by the Russian government to essentially, it's being used to treat people or to teach people like the foreign policy of the Russian government. That's what it's being used. If you're a colonel, you have to read Foundation of Geopolitics. You have no choice. So, he'd rather attack a American elite, which, by the way, never is defined. We don't have any names. We're not saying the Clintons. We're not saying, the Rothbard, Murray Rothbard. We're not saying the fucking Reagans. We're not saying the Bushes. Just as the American elite. Which I'm thinking to myself, the American elite of the 80s, the 90s, the early 2000s, 2010s, like, what are we talking? No response. No way to do it. And everyone wants us to keep bringing up Yuri Bezmenov. They'll blame America for subversion, but they'll never fucking point at the Russians. We're never allowed to criticize them.
In the same meetups I go to, these people are like, they always say, oh, China steals everything. But they say, oh, well, the communism back in the 80s was just a witch hunt. Like, no. Communism was a genuine, real threat. Like, but they don't see the connection between the two.
They don't. It's really sad that they're doing it. Wolf Windpepper, welcome, man. Share this around. This is where I'm going to be, because at this point, I don't care about YouTube anymore. I don't care. This.
Yeah, Wojcicki said that Dashing's being a bad boy.
I'm a very naughty boy, and I don't. I have to sit in the little kids table now.
Now always said the naughty kids table will also stand on the naughty step.
Yeah, exactly. I have to. I'm a horrible human being, but again, Jack Murphy. Jack, what the fuck is wrong with you? This argument makes sense. His argument makes sense from a Russian perspective. Hell, if you're going to talk about ideals that make sense...
Does he listen to him talk? I mean, have you tried to hear... I mean, I know it's not because his English is not his first language, but he is boring. He doesn't say anything.
Again, it's sort of like the notion of, well, this guy's a graduate, right? This guy comes from, he has a degree in philosophy. Therefore, it's like the Dunning-Kruger effect. It literally is the Dunning-Kruger effect. I know I'm fucking stupid.
Are you seriously going to pull credentials on bad ideas? I mean, are you saying that Marx would have been more legitimate if he had a bachelor's?
No, I guess that's what it is. I mean, and even if his arguments make sense, that doesn't mean they're true. It doesn't mean they're true. Just because they make sense doesn't mean, And again, the thing that gets me is that he says dialogue is essential, useful and essential. And I said, yeah, you're right. But subversion comes both ways. To quote Bezmenov again, for you to be subverted, you have to have a line of communication. And when you have a guy like Dugin who is so fucking vague in the things that he says, that it borderline comes off as, well, again, it makes no sense. Like, if you account for time and you say the American elites, right? Okay, well, 90s was the Clintons, then you have Bush, and you have fucking, was it Obama, what have you. Well, who are the American elite? And even then, if he's a traditionalist, he's hell-bent on the notion that America's the bad guy. And we're not. We're the good guys. The Russians, the Soviet boomer, they're the fucking bad guys. They're the ones who are so fucking... They're probably fucking... I wouldn't be surprised if some fucking degenerate Soviet boomer wants to fucking just launch a nuke just so he can know that in his heart of hearts he served his motherland or some stupid shit like that. Real talk. These people have dedicated their entire lives to trying to undermine the United States. And in some cases, don't get me wrong, there's a CIA boomer as well. But I don't think it's all the CIA, and I don't think it's all the fucking Russians. I really don't believe that to be the case. I believe there's a little bit of both sides here, but at the same time, if you're going to claim that the United States empire is evil, don't fucking go up to a guy who legitimately wants to establish the Eurasian economic empire. And he's modeling after the Soviet Union. This guy was originally a Soviet, a National Bolshevik, which was communism with punk rock aesthetics or some shit like that. And I'm thinking to myself, at what point do we get to say you're just wrong? We just don't have to listen to you anymore, Jack. And again, this guy gets access to better YouTube algorithms, favorable YouTube algorithms. I don't get to have any of that.
He's in Tim Pool's circle, and you guys just connected from there too.
Yeah, and that's another thing that pisses me off. I'm almost certain that Bannon's been on Tim Pool's show. I think.
Oh yeah, a couple many times.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, I hope to God that YouTube dies with Tim Pool. I really do hope it dies off with Tim Pool, because at this point, we got to nuke fucking YouTube just so that these people don't have a big platform anymore. Because the majority of us watch Tim Pool on YouTube. We don't watch it on Odyssey. We don't watch it on BitChute. Some of us do, maybe some of us don't. But ultimately speaking, we all watch on YouTube because, one, you're allowed to have the app on YouTube on your phone. And there's no other way to do it. So besides me bitching and complaining about getting in fights, Twitter shit posts with fucking Jack Dorsey, well, not Jack Dorsey, Jack Murphy. I apologize, Jack. It's not Dorsey, but Murphy. I apologize to both of you. The Rittenhouse thing, it really just is upsetting to me, because I got to remember again that the internet is not real. And when they're talking about getting after the guy's kid, they're trying to say, oh, go, or not go after the guy's kid, trying to fuck the other guy's woman. I'm like, what? Like, calm down, internet. Jeez, that's fucking insane. But going back to the whole smallpox scare that happened.
Oh yeah.
So the CDC testing shows recently discovered smallpox vials contain no trace of Valora virus. Here we go. This is from SciTech Daily. Here you go. You can read this if you want.
All right. Smallpox. CDC testing shows recent discovery smallpox vials contain no trace of Valora virus.
Yeah, Valora, I would assume, is the freaking is the term for smallpox. But again, there was a CDC scare, and I'll tell you this. I know enough about smallpox to know that the only two places that have a living sample of the smallpox virus is Russia and United States. So you could imagine of who's going to point who. Like, I know Jack Murphy might blame the fucking United States because he'll never blame Russia, even though Russia's the one that has the other strain out there. Only America has the other strain. And again, this type of false flag shit is going to happen a hell of a lot more. We're going to see more gaslighting. The laboratory testing of the CDC, of the Centers of Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, today showed that the recently discovered vials marked with smallpox contain vaccinia, the virus used in a smallpox vaccine. There is no evidence that the vials contain Valora virus, the cause of smallpox. CDC is in close contact with the state and local health officials, law enforcement, and World Health Organization about these findings. Which, again, if they did find smallpox, that's a big sign. That means two people are to blame. There are two suspects, and it's either the United States or the Russians. It's not like, oh my God, we have that Novichok poisoning, right? Novichok that was basically used to kill Sergei Skripal, right? That stuff's been on the market for like past 40 years. It could have been anybody. It could have been the CIA. It could have been the fucking KGB, SVR, FSB. It could have been anybody. It could have been fucking MI6 for all we fucking know. When you have a government that basically has its own, rifles, and then that government falls apart, or its own weapons, I should say, and that government falls apart, and people can buy it for the highest bidder, or the highest bidder can purchase it, you're going to have a instance where you're not going to be able to say, well, this bullet was from, let's say, a 7.62 by 39, therefore it must be the Russians. No, it could be some thug gangsters. That doesn't necessarily mean that it is specifically a one particular faction or not. But here, if it was smallpox, if it was actual, like, the smallpox virus, we would know it's either the Russians or it is the fucking United States. And I'll tell you, Russia has a very, very good hand, to the point where we have American conservatives with the flag and their icon and everything, basically saying, we hate the American elite. The American elite are evil. Oh my God. Woo.
And what this reminds me of? That scene, you probably don't remember the movie American Carol, but it reminds me of that scene where the Michael Moore parody is going to a college and seeing kids being indoctrinated, and he's kind of excusing it on these grounds.
And the Times. It doesn't make it okay for you to embarrass all those great professors.
Doing a pretty good job of that themselves.
They're only trying to bring peace to the world.
By indoctrinating an entire generation to hate its own country.
Well, they teach math, too.
Hey, Vinny, how you doing? No, but like, yeah, that's the problem, is that we need to understand that we're at war with China. Like China and Russia are our enemies. Now, the thing that's interesting is that I'm almost certain that because Russia is where it is in the world, and China is where it is in the world, I'm almost certain that there's going to be a time in which, if China overextends its reach, what we're going to see is we're going to see maybe the Russia maybe Russia being where it's at, because they could probably send in tanks over from across Mongolia into fucking into China. It's possible, that whenever they invade Taiwan, the Russians just move in, and then it's a chain reaction. They go to war, we go to war, everyone goes to war, and everyone, like I said before, I believe that if it does get to that, we will have like East Berlin, West Berlin, northern China and southern China, so to speak. One will be controlled by the Americans and the free world, and one will be controlled by the fucking Soviet boomer and his degenerate freaking prodigy, But, besides the freaking smallpox scare, besides the freaking medical misinformation that's out there, freaking Wojcicki, I am doing fairly well, all things considering. I oftentimes get told, "Oh, you're so freaking upsetting. Every day is the worst day of your life." Well, I'm doing fairly well, all things considering, and I'm thinking about renting a car, going over to see my parents soon in Arizona. Plan on going over there for holidays.
All right.
Yeah, I'm gonna go get my stuff back. And at the same time, I'm thinking about renting a car, and I've never rented a car before, so I don't know how.
Could be a bit of a hassle, because whenever I hear a lot of people saying that people are dealerships are being very particular about how they rent cars out.
I didn't even think about dealerships. I was just going to Enterprise. I don't know if that's a dealership.
Well, the people who deal in that stuff.
Oh, they're being very particular? Well, I mean, I don't have any credit that I'm aware of. I don't even have a credit card, so.
Well, let me know if anything doesn't work out, so I can give you a ride.
What, you wanna come and get me and then drop me off?
Well, if you have no other means.
I mean, I have my car. I just don't want to risk my car.
I gotcha.
And if you're gonna come all the way over here and then all the way back, don't you have family to hang out with on Christmas or Thanksgiving?
We have the plans haven't been finalized, but it might be, yeah.
All right. Well, then you should take care of your. I appreciate you offering, but you're probably gonna want to be with your own family on this.
Gotcha.
Day. Yeah, and even then, I'm buying, let's say, five turkeys for my. I'm starting a turkey drive at my.
Nice.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I'm helping people get turkeys at my church, so that's something I'm doing.
All right.
As of late, but between that and the crazy crap that's going on, I mean, no one's rioting over here. I've not seen a single riot because of the whole Kenosha decision.
Yeah, the Portland is the only place that in flames, but then again, Portland is always in flames.
Portland basically is the fucking it's Moscow or St. Petersburg. They have it's right next to the KGB headquarters. That's sort of what it is at the end of the day. I mean, you'd think that San Jose, Silicon Valley is the KGB headquarters, but we're not. Well, apparently we're the freaking we're Moscow. We're not. We actually don't have the headquarters here. It's actually in St. Petersburg. But besides that, I'm trying to think what else has happened. I mean, yeah, everyone's partying because of the Rittenhouse thing, which I don't think we should be partying for that. I think that kid has had enough. I think that kid should just go off and walk on to the sunset. But yeah, that's basically it. Other than what's up?
Well, if there is one thing to understand from the Kyle Rittenhouse story is how horribly politicized everything is. I mean, everyone has pointed out that if this whole thing was kind of a referendum on gun ownership and self-defense, and it just goes to show that we are so easily, because the groups I go to, there are these people who are so distracted by racial politics that we don't focus on anything else, which I think is kind of the point.
Yeah, and again, I'm against identity politics. I really do. To the point where the only identity politics that matters are those who go after the identity politicians. Like, go after the people who claim to be a BLM, and then they're lived and trained Marxists, yet they have a freaking $1 million mansion.
Yeah.
Go after those people.
Yeah, that John McWhorter, he's been commenting about how wokeism is basically the new unofficial secular official religion of our age, and now it is a religion in all but name.
Well, religare, right? Religare meaning to tie, to bind, and to hold back. Doctoral ethics, by that definition, could be considered a religion. The problem with the SJW shit is it's Gnostic. It's a Gnostic religion. It's based on knowledge. It's based on, a few intellectuals, a 1619 project, the freaking, what the hell's his name? Kenneth, what the hell his name is?
What's his name? I just saw him on the screen.
Yeah, I just saw him also.
Eric's Kennedy? What's his?
Yeah.
Where are you?
X Kennedy, that fucker, yeah. Kenneth X Kennedy, or whatever the fuck his name is.
And then Robin DiAngelo, of course.
If you want to see an example of like the thing that just pisses me off is that there is some truth behind a lot of the cries of like African Americans when it comes to having culture. They don't have culture. Their culture is sort of like a mix, a fusion, if you will. That's what, if you really want to get down to it, they don't have a connection to Africa, only in blood. And even then, that blood isn't really mean anything, because again, the whites really didn't discriminate based on this guy's from this tribe, this guy's from this tribe, and they would have hated each other. Oh, we don't give a shit. Just put them on the boat anyway. We don't care. A black's a black. We don't really care. So even the tribal ties don't exist for these people. In the African Americans, I should say.
Yeah,
I have friends.
He's advocating. People like Ibram X. Kennedy is advocating for like this notion of this Black American tribe. This idea that all Black Americans have gone through this horrible sea of oppression, and the thing that unites us is our constant fight against that struggle, which is conveniently very Marxist.
Well, yeah, but also at the same time, when is it won? It's never won. So all you have is to be united by hate, and to be united by hate, to quote Crea, is a fragile alliance at best. Like again, I if you want to see an example of a character who I would say is a good example of somebody who picked himself up by the bootstraps, Chalky White. You know who Chalky White is?
Who is he?
Chalky White from Boardwalk Empire. He was the guy who.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you know who Chalky White is.
Yeah, but of course that whole situation was. That kind of was a government step. The people capitalizing on the government's stupid decisions.
Yeah, and at the same time, let me just say this: the government, the Democrats create tyrannies, but the right wingers create mobs, if that makes sense, or mafias, if that makes any sense. They create illegal liquor trades. They're the ones who create the drug trade. They created the drug war in a lot of ways. They did. So they create like a black market. That's something that a lot of the Republicans have a history of doing. They create a black market for fucking guns in California. They create a black market for, well, actually, technically it's the Democrats. You can blame the Democrats on that, but they have created demand. A lot of the government, and again, I'm not going to bash all the conservatives. That's not what I'm interested in doing. But
I recently saw the movie Rocketeer, and there's a scene.
Can you do me a favor real quick? Can you display this on screen, please?
Which?
I just linked you this.
Oh yeah. Well, I was saying I just recently saw the Rocketeer, and there's a scene of a gangster. A scene where the gangster realizes that the person he's working for is connected with Nazi Germany, and he asks him, "What's this all about?" He says, "Come on, I pay you well. Doesn't matter who I'm working for." He says, "It matters to me. I may not make an honest buck, but I'm 100% American. I don't work for no two-bit Nazi." Yeah,
exactly. And there's that level of camaraderie. You're going to be fighting gangsters, Dagos, and Jew boys from fucking New York City. They'll never surrender to you. That was a quote from, I believe it was The Lost Battalion, World War I, but still the same concept. The people who immigrate to America, they have a fierce national pride. They absolutely care. They love their country. They love their. I have a friend from Ethiopia, for example. He fucking is a security guard, and I joke with him that he knows what danger looks like on two continents. And he does. A lot of these people, they take up the jobs that no one else wants. They take the jobs that are hard to do and they get ahead. Now, Luke, can you put that up for a second? It's my live stream. If you could just pull it up and look at the dislike ratio, please. You see it? Hello? Luke? Is anyone out there?
I see 1 like and no dislikes.
But do you just see the dislike, or do you see 0 likes?
I see 0 likes. Oh no, I see 1 like and 1 dislike. I can put it on the screen for it if you want.
Yeah, please, by all means.
Let's see.
Please, by all means.
But of course, it's going to go weird like echo effect. But let's see if this works. And so zoom in, and that's what we have right now.
Yeah, and guess what? They hid the dislike bar on my other channel, but this one doesn't have it. So you could actually see my dislikes on this one.
Maybe I should try to find another video then that shows your dislikes.
Yeah, this is from my digital podcast. Yeah, I see 2 likes and 0 dislikes, exactly. But on my other podcast, my other channel, let me see if I can find it. Up here, so from Gavin Newsom, right?
Yeah,
oh my God! Oh wow!
What?
Wowzers! I could actually. Can you see this?
I'm on your other channel and I'm seeing the other with Pastor Tom and 9 likes and 2 dislikes.
You could actually see the dislikes?
I can.
How is that possible? I thought they took away the dislike bar.
Has that been issued yet or no?
That was issued. I could see it with my own eyes. That's fucking weird. I was talking with a friend of mine, Vinny, who's in the chat, right? He didn't see dislikes either. They were talking about implementing it, but like on my old channel, my old, Dashing Road channel, I can't see likes on mine. I don't know if it's because I just disliked the wrong people and that they put me in timeout, or they never told me I had something on my face or something, because it kind of feels that way. It's really gaslight-ish, I don't know. It's just really weird, But besides all that, we're getting up to the holiday season again, and I ditched Robinhood finally. Finally got rid of Robinhood as my crypto app, and I got into Coinbase. That's always fun.
Yeah. It's more useful for our cryptos.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I don't like Robinhood. I had Robinhood just because it was the first thing I knew. But I moved away from that, and I basically took out all my fucking shit and put it into what was it? It's not Ethereum. I put it into Coinbase, but I don't know. All I know is I'm going to be streaming on this channel from now on, simply because I have a dislike bar. That's one reason, and the other reason would be that I don't care about YouTube, and they took away my ability to live stream for 7 days, and then I have a strike on my channel. For what? Medical misinformation. Why medical misinformation? I don't know.
Maybe they changed their minds about the dislike bar.
Maybe they did.
I'm seeing it everywhere else, so maybe they just haven't, or maybe they haven't issued it yet. We have to reset the YouTube page again.
Maybe I don't know, because I'm going to look at. Let's look at Cron 4. Yeah, Cron 4. Another violent weekend in Oakland. I can't see the dislikes, but I can see the likes. Let me see if I can send this to you. Here we go. Let me send it to you. Send this to you via Skype. This is from my fucking from my mobile. So this type of gaslighting crap really does scare people, because I don't know how many. I'm not gonna I had 2 dislikes on my original with my talk with you and Pastor Tom, right? But I never knew that. I could, how am I supposed to know I'm doing better if I can't see dislikes? How can I do better? How can I be a better person? How can I give better content if you don't see what I see? If I don't get that feedback, There you go. I sent you 2 links.
All right.
This is from Cron 4. They shut off their freaking comments section.
Ooh, what's this? Let's see.
It's another violent weekend, apparently, from from Cron 4. But again, if I go to the link, and let me send you the link, we could probably pull this up for a second, because for all I fucking know, they're gaslighting us again. They're saying, "Oh, no, you can't do this. Oh, no. I have no idea. Again, I have no idea if that's legit or not. Like, I just disliked it right there. How do I know this is legitimately, like, how do I know that there's a certain strike and then your YouTube channel is dead to rights? That's the same link I went to.
Let's see, what does it say? What does it show? Well, there's one dislike on it, but of course there's now only 3 likes.
Yeah, so I'm gonna watch it again on my fucking channel. Refresh it real quick. Refresh.
Are you seeing the same thing I'm seeing?
No, I'm not seeing the same thing. I'm on my mobile, and even on mine, when I log in with Dashing Rogue, I don't get to see dislikes. So there is something going on here in that regard. Like, if you refresh it right now, refresh it.
Refresh.
Just refresh.
Reload.
You can see.
Okay, now there's a 4th like.
Yes, that's me, and I guess it's not showing it for you. But this is really weird, because I don't see dislikes on mine. I guess I'm just a naughty boy. I don't get to have the right to smell if something's shit or not.
If I recall, they originally pitched this as saying that the only people who see the dislikes are the people who upload the videos.
Yeah, so for all we fucking know, this is what I was telling my friend at one point. I said to him, "Hey, for all you know, this whole thing is basically them. They're allowing some content creators to see it and some content creators not seeing it. So, you get gaslighted and saying there was no update. We never made a statement like that. This is it's our word against yours, and it's no bueno. I don't like it. But again, there's really no way for me to prove this beyond a shadow of a doubt. I'm looking at it right now. I have a couple of theories. Okay, he wants to see it. Their refute is that you could still see it in Creator Studios. Yeah, but I can't see it in outside of Creator Studios and with inside Creator Studios. But I can see it on certain other channels. That's why it's so fucking weird. And the problem here is this is censorship. I mean, the CDC at the end of the day fucking changed its definitions on its own program, on its own website. They changed the definition of fucking virus. Now, am I gonna get hit for that, Wojcicki? Do it, bitch. Do it. Because at this point, I just want to talk. I just want to talk. I want to have my own conversations. I want to do my own thing. And I'm getting sick and tired. I was doing it every freaking day, and maybe I don't have to do it every day. Because this is insane what's going on.
Maybe that's why they got your attention. They got their attention because you're uploading more often.
Maybe that's the case. Yeah, I don't know. All I know is this can't continue. But anyhow, I'm back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not dead. I just can't fucking live stream for a week or so.
I'm just over here.
Yeah, I'm just over here on my 20 subscriber channel. Which again, at this point, fuck YouTube. Real talk. Like, if they're gonna incentivize certain groups over others, if they're gonna give the Timcast people a fucking fair shot, and they'll give Sargon of Akkad a fair shot, and everybody else who's unknown has no chance of getting up, why would I want to be on your channel?
The whole appeal of YouTube is the notion of meritocracy, but if they're not going to do that, then there's no point.
Well, it's not even meritocracy. It's like the fucking like. Do you remember Smosh?
Yeah.
Remember Smosh back in the day?
Uh-huh.
You know why they're no longer around?
Why are they not around?
Because their content was basically they'd have to write a script. They release the video on Friday. They'd film it all throughout the week, and they would hope to get like big hits, right?
Right.
YouTube doesn't favor quality; they favor quantity. This is the reason why I originally started filming myself playing video games, right? Because if you watch content for a longer period of time, you're more likely to get more views, and they want long sustainability. Yeah,
Let's see.
Yeah.
Is this still the same Smosh?
I think it is, but I don't. But at the same time, they don't. like they don't create content that is like little skits here and there. They don't do that. The
Try guys versus the do guy. Like I haven't been following them, so I don't know any of these terms.
I don't watch them. I mean, I don't watch them either. But what I'm trying to get across here is that YouTube has favored long form content with Game Grumps. They favor.
These guys have 25 million subscribers, but their videos seem to get like a fraction, like 300,000.
Yeah, you want to see another example of that? Go look up Nightmare RH. Nightmare RH on YouTube. Go look him up. He's somebody who has, I think, like 200,000 subscribers, maybe even a couple hundred plus. But he doesn't get any views. And why is that? Because YouTube keeps fucking changing the algorithm. And the problem with that is that how do you gain the algorithm? Because at this point, without getting the algorithm to like you.
And a couple of years ago, they had to do that little sign up where they had to say, no, this is not for children. Which means that the only way people can share content is if they're logged into their YouTube account.
And I've oftentimes said, just make Minecraft games. Just make a bunch of Minecraft. Go and make Minecraft, and maybe that's what I have to do. I was thinking about going to buy Minecraft and just doing a review of a map. I think it's called the Uncensored Library, or whatever it's called.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, it's a bunch of it's a sneaky way for people like in China and places where they have government censorship, like Saudi Arabia, to play a game on Minecraft, and they have like articles they were redacted in China in places by the government. So like you could find out what actually went down in Tiananmen Square if you upload this Minecraft.
You could commit some historical nihilism.
Yeah, you could basically go in and you could look up. It's like a huge library. They're all in PDF format, right? And you could view and read them in game. So like it's like a digital archive.
It's what Facebook wants Meta to be.
Yes. Oh, speaking of Meta, you just reminded me. We're gonna go back to our roots.
Minecraft did it better before, did it sooner and better.
This fucker. So you remember this fucker? We've had this conversation about this guy before.
Which one? Which one?
Well, let's just say the Bulbasaur went after him, but I went after him first because I like to go after New Agers.
Okay.
There we go. So this is one of the reasons why we have to. This is
why.
Morgue.
How fitting.
A
place where we examine the dead.
Yes. So let's hear him out. And this is why I hate New Agers, by the way. Or occultists, if you will.
And the traditionalists, if you want.
Well, basically, anybody who had a religion that was created in the last, 200 years.
Or yesterday. Or even yesterday, especially.
Yeah, exactly. Here we go.
Let's see, what have we got? Let's see, could the metaverse cause a singularity? No, it can't.
No, it can't. He's basically going to say what
anyone who's been an adult for a few years. No, it's not. No, it won't.
It's not work. But let's hear his definition of the singularity. Go on.
And specifically, today we're talking about the metaverse, and specifically, can the metaverse cause the singularity? Some people already think that it can, at least when referring to the technological singularity, which is a time that
What exactly do people mean when they say singularity? Does he explain that?
He's basically going to talk about how machines can now think and make better machines that think better than machines, and it's basically the idea that we're going to have machines that will make machines that are super smarter machines. And
so like the first actual artificial intelligence.
Yeah, exactly that, and also the fact let's just continue because I have a few ideas what he's going to say. Keep going.
Is when technology essentially explodes and overtakes humanity. Usually it's thought in terms of AI being able to generate another AI that's even more intelligent than itself, and that one in turn can create an even more intelligent AI, and so on until it explodes.
Yeah, the stupidity of this assumption is that robots can only do what they're programmed to do. And, and despite what the movies like to believe, no, errors don't create these. Technology doesn't evolve. Like even evolution doesn't work. Like biological evolution doesn't work like this. And so it's not gonna translate into the machine world.
It's not. But the thing that really pisses me off is these new age fuckers. They're gonna love the metaverse. Let's be frank. Mark Zuckerberg, of all people, is going to make waifus real. That's basically
no.
I know, right? And this is
the
why
human extinction made like that scene from Futurama, the dangers of the human race going extinct.
Yeah, everyone wants to get that robot pussy. That robo pussy. Keep going.
Explodes exponentially.
Although, are you familiar with the Jolly Heretic?
Not really.
Well, he just goes on studies and reviews and talks about how idiocracy is going to is happen, but it's nothing like it will happen, but it won't happen in the sense that we won't have advanced technological societies because you need smart people to run big cities, and also because white people effectively won't exist because, well, high IQ people won't really exist in the future.
Well, that I don't know. I mean, Cletus is pretty fucking stupid. I mean, like, well, I'll just say, not every single for every what's that? What the hell was his name? The guy who played Kamunga, whatever the hell his name is. The guy from the president Kamunga, whatever.
And if I'm really honest with myself, I don't really care about white people not existing in the future. I'm just concerned that civilization is not going to really exist because we might actually digress into something that's more primitive and simple. But then again, that might actually be a benefit because we're not obsessed with stupid things like shaming lesbians for not sleeping with trans women.
Or oh my God, the air conditioner is sexist. I'll never forget that.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I don't want to go into that whole darkness of history mentality, but it's a mixed bag.
Yes, it is. Let's continue.
But there's a lot of different interpretations of the technological singularity, but we're going to look at it in terms of Hyperianism and what the real singularity is with regard to reality being transformed into a completely mental existence, which is a lot different than how the technological singularity is thought of, where it has more to do with materialism, which is a faulty position. We're also going to look at...
Oh, that's what you meant by Gnostic.
Yeah, he's basically going to fucking get into the whole notion that, we're going to live in a mental reality. It's not going to be physical. Well, I hate to tell you this, but it's the same thing. Even if you join and merge with machine and you have like a silicon brain, you still have a physical brain. You're not going to you're not going to give up the fucking ghost and then your ghost is in the fucking metaverse. It's not going to work that way.
And of course, with the demonization of the physical world, I bring up C.S. Lewis. God likes matter. He invented it.
Yep.
Some very interesting developments with Meta, because as I said, the metaverse, could be the catalyst for this exponentially growth of information, technology, and knowledge, which propels us to a point where humanity will be nothing like what it is right now. And there are some new developments in the metaverse as well, where Meta is coming out with a new technology that will allow you to have sensations in the metaverse. And this is what I was talking about in our last stream. I said, technology would come out that would allow us to feel in it, and it would become to the point where we are almost completely and totally immersed within it. So,
you know the joke how porn made the internet?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is just another version of that.
That, and also, I would love to see, Mark Zuckerberg, actually, try to transcode what it's like to be white, fat shamed. I like to feel the feeling.
You get to customize your avatar. I now look forward to this. I look forward to the fat shaming of our avatar modes.
That, and also the fact
now I have to get a meta avatar now.
Imagine you get up, you have a wild, crazy weekend and then on Monday you have to have a metaverse meeting, and your boss shows up in a fucking fursona, and no one tells him. No one's gonna have the balls to say, should we tell him that he's in his fucking tiger suit or some shit?
That's what we're talking about today. It's going to be really good. I also want to remind you, if you support on Patreon, you will get access to our
go
secret live streams and archiving Discord server, Citadel, and many of my lecture notes. So if you enjoy my work, please consider supporting on Patreon.
Whoever knows, the communists always seem to get more money off of those things.
Well, I'm just saying, that and the New Ager. I mean, let's be frank. How much, real talk, do you think Styx Hexenhammer gets away with a lot of shit because he's not a Christian? As opposed, or he comes off as not a right winger.
Yeah,
how much of this is again, if I were to pull up a sheet of everybody who's the usual suspects, Styx would not be one of them. He doesn't dress the part.
Yeah, one of the benefits of having a college education and going to remedial classes is I heard of a play called Angels in America, and the whole thing is a stupid blasphemous or a thing about examination about the AIDS virus and how the black gay community is trying to cope with itself. But there's a line where one of the gay people. One of the gays is having a dream about meeting his previous ancestors that stem all the way back to America, and the ancestor sees his future, his younger generations, having a gay relationship. He's like, "Oh, this world is so old."
Yeah. And
it's this. It's people are so bored and desperate for new things. It's ugh.
Yep.
That's how I am able to do what I do. All right, let's start things off by talking about what the technological singularity actually is. So let me read to you here a definition of the technological singularity. So the technological singularity, or simply the singularity, is a hypothetical point in time at which technological growth becomes uncontrollable and irreversible, resulting in the unforeseeable changes to human civilization. according to the most popular version of the singularity hypothesis, called intelligence explosion, an upgraded intelligent agent will eventually enter a runaway reaction of self-improvement cycles, each new and more intelligent generation appearing more and more rapidly, causing an explosion in intelligence and resulting in a powerful superintelligence that qualitatively far surpasses all human intelligence. So, von Neumann centered on the accelerating progress of technology and changes in the mode of human life, which gives the appearance of approaching some essential singularity in the history of the race beyond which human affairs as we know them could not continue. So,
I'm really curious what the new higher intelligence's first desires are. Like, what if he's completely independent of other human creation? Like, what his first inclinations will be, if he can even have any.
Well, you do know intelligence doesn't necessarily mean desire. Like I would go back to the whole Neil Gaiman thing, right? There's death, there's destiny, there's destruction, there's desire. And desire, you have to have things that desire things. Like, why did you get out of bed in the morning? What's the reason to get out of bed? Well, I have to go to work. Okay. What do I have to go to work? Well, what do you get? Just because you create intelligence doesn't mean that it will follow orders. If it will follow orders, sure, but it doesn't have any desires. Why would it want to improve itself? Does it have the ability and instincts of an animal to defend itself?
And worst of all, if it has no inclinations, it's not going to do anything. It's just gonna be like an endless it'll be like a instantaneous Google search where it has all the information, but if it has no direction, it's not going to do anything.
Yeah, why have your hair long? Why not have it short? Why not just have it shaved? Why not just shave everything? Why do anything? Why get out of bed? Why study? Why do any of these things? What is your raison d'etre? What would the singularity have?
And it seems like this. I always understand the point that how electric, like automatic cars, are not going to replace drivers because you need someone to want to drive the car, and because you need someone to actually do the things that the automatic car cannot do. And it's always like technology is going to supplement everything we do. So basically, it's going to be like an extension of our cell phones, where we always go to Google things and look things up, which might make us more dependent on them. But that's another topic.
I mean, as somebody who worked in the automated vehicle service, let me just say this about that. Most of the time, it's going to be really good cruise control. That's what it's going to be. So like, you may be able to be on your iPad, but you're going to be in front of the car. You're less likely to crash. You're more likely to decelerate and just come to a stop until somebody takes the wheel, but you're not going to have true autonomy. You're not going to have level 4 autonomy. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, my car already stops when there's things up too close ahead of me. So it's only a matter of time before they're able to read the line and say, oh, I can cruise control without me driving it.
Yeah, exactly. And when it comes to steering and navigating, that's something that's going to be that is more of a technological feat that it has to encounter.
Yeah, that'll be an interesting jump. Like, we get to the point where we're going to be like a Minority Report, where people basically have cars on these conveyor belts where they're just sitting along waiting for their ride to end.
Yeah.
Anyway.
That is what the technological singularity is. And what we're going to be looking at today is some people are claiming that the singularity is fast approaching, and it will happen first in the metaverse. So that's something that we're going to be taking a look at. But what I want to explain
the workers' revolution will come this time, my friends.
Oh yeah, it'll come this time.
Guys,
or the global warming flood is going to come this time, or is it the global cooling flood, or is it the climate change flood? I forget.
Important here, and that is that as a technological singularity is defined, it's often looked at in terms of AI, or artificial intelligence, in that AI is going to be that intelligence that is able to rapidly develop itself and then overtake humanity. But what I'm going to be talking about today is how that some kind of artificial intelligence attaining consciousness is not going to be what happens. Rather, it's going to be a mental singularity rather than an artificial singularity. Because right now, it's in terms of an artificial intelligence, an artificial technological singularity, but we will see that it is actually a mental singularity that can be facilitated, that will be facilitated by technology. So technology is not going to be the thing that becomes ultra-conscious. Rather, technology is going to be the thing that is a tool to get us to ultra-consciousness.
Okay, I'm already scared by that description.
Yeah, he's imagine getting a virus and then having your brain be wiped.
Or basically getting everyone to share the exact same opinion at any given moment.
Like literal meme viruses, like legitimately.
Very important distinction to make. So rather than it being a technological artificial singularity, which is how the world sees it, it is going to be a mental singularity. And that's going to be what we're talking about today. Because in terms of reality, here's what happens, okay? We began as a singularity. Before the Big Bang, before space and time existed at all, we existed in a pure mental state, a perfect realm of pure mind. We existed together as a collective mental entity. And if you're new to my channel, this is understood through mathematics and reason, not any kind of woo-woo mysticism or anything like that. It's a completely mathematical state, meaning that prior to the existence of space and time, we existed in a state of pure frequency, a pure frequency domain in which all of the constituents...
Did we even exist?
Who's we?
I mean, did I exist? Did you exist?
Did I exist? Are we talking humanity? Are we talking about, you know, your cult followers?
And more importantly, if this is going to incorporate like in science and the evolutionary history, does that mean the singularity took that long to make intelligence? Like,
there's just so many fucking questions.
So this raises more questions, but I won't interrupt anymore.
Waveforms in that frequency domain are perfectly orthogonal, meaning they reflect perfect symmetry. The Big Bang was a symmetry-breaking event when we went from symmetry to asymmetry, which entails the breaking of orthogonality into non-orthogonal phase relations. And this is what started the Big Bang. So that's, in a nutshell, how it's mathematically defined in a very short amount of time. But if you want to understand it in more of a intuitive way, think of it like a dream. The Big Bang was the moment that we as a collective mind began to dream together the dream of this existence. And so now all of our evolution is headed to... We began in a single...
Tell us about Azathoth. Tell us about Azathoth. Tell us, if you're going to go with the whole... it's all a dream shit. You might as well go with the whole Azathoth, Cthulhu mythos, because we're all in a dream, right?
Singularity, and now we're headed towards another singularity. So what the true singularity is the end of space and time, where we enter into a purely mental existence, where there is no longer space and time, and we exist in a state of pure mind. So the true singularity is a transformation of matter, the material universe, into mind. That's the true singularity. And we're going to see, though, how technology, including the metaverse, can facilitate this process. We're going to be talking a lot about this. So if we take a look here, and we're also going to take a look at a new development in meta technology, which allows you to feel in the metaverse.
Which, again, I want to know what it feels like to be racially offended. I think that's what's going to happen. I think we're going to have a situation where you might very well be in a position where, where you'll be able to feel the feelings of like a black woman. I guarantee you that's what it's going to be. It's basically just going to be like, it's okay. It feels it's like a little comfortable, but who cares?
It's like 3D in a movie. It's like meh.
Meh.
And look, here's the singularity showing up.
Ugh.
I mean, it is kind of weird if you try to fathom like a physical living creature as big as a planet. That's like I try to process what that would be in real terms. Like, yeah, I can't. That's unfathomable.
Yeah, it really is.
Recently, there's been a lot of discussion around singularity and whether we soon will be entering a phase where artificial intelligence will become reality. However, before we delve into the philosophical and ethical implications of singularity, we have to understand what it really is, its actual limitations, and why it may happen in a way that is different than anticipated. Singularity is the notion that the exponential acceleration of technological development will lead to a situation where artificial intelligence supersedes human intelligence and will eventually escape out of our control. Some even predict catastrophic consequences for humanity, where machines will become the dominant species on this planet. This may seem a bit far-fetched, at least for the near future, given that advancements in hardware development and robotics are not catching up with software when it comes to artificial intelligence. However, one can argue that the recent hype and developments surrounding the metaverse will definitely open the door to rethink the singularity. So basically what this is saying is that hardware developments and robotics are not catching up with software developments, and so this could be a problem with the development of this technological singularity. But within the metaverse, you won't be using, you don't need robotic bodies to get around. In the metaverse, it will be a sort of software-generated body, a virtual body. So you wouldn't need that robotic hardware. So that's where the metaverse opens up a new possibility to where you could have, say, an artificial intelligence using a virtual body rather than, say, a robotic body.
So the Jetsons is going to be all online.
Yeah, you're going to meet George Jetch and his boy Elroy at the food court, but you're still going to be in your freaking shitty little box apartment like in Ready Player One.
Huh.
Yeah.
Now it's boring.
Again, this is why I keep saying buy stuff that's actually real. Buy material goods. Buy, have a little bit of crypto here and there. That's fine. But, silver and gold and lead is what I want. And iron, coal iron.
Now, here's the thing that I want to say about this. So, in understanding ontological mathematics, consciousness AI cannot generate consciousness. So the whole idea here is that people think that AI will eventually become conscious and they will become the new dominant species on Earth because they will develop a super consciousness. But here's the thing. In understanding ontological mathematics, artificial intelligence cannot
Is there
become
such thing?
conscious.
Let me look this up.
Yeah, the consciousness
He's right.
problem. It's good that he addresses the point that consciousness is not something we can really comprehend or
No,
can
it's not.
translate into like robots.
Ontological mathematics. Oh, fuck you. First thing comes up, it's by Morg. And of course, he has a fucking Amazon account. And I'm thinking, so you just fucking created it. So what is ontology? Ontology is the study of existence. So the ontological mathematics. So let's actually let me look at what ontological is. I just want to get an idea of this. Ontological, relating to a branch of metaphysics dealing with the nature of being. Showing the relations between the concepts and categories in the subject area or domain. What is mathematics? Mathematics comes from knowledge, study, learning, including the study of such topics as numbers, arithmetic, and number theory. So I guess the question then becomes, is this guy a Platonist? Or is he Aristotelian? Or something in between? Because, again, there is an argument. I've talked about this before on my podcast, that math, the numbers don't exist, and math to a degree doesn't exist, but it doesn't exist in the sense that purple dwarfs, the rat's tail don't exist because dwarfs don't exist. I mean, there are little people, but they're not like Gimli dwarfs, and they don't have rat tails either, and they're not purple. But you could think about it. You know what that is. You know what the meaning of purple is. You know what the meaning of a dwarf is. You know what a rat's tail is.
I mean, to put it simply, numbers are rational abstractions of physical phenomenon. Yeah,
exactly. They're basically, one is one. There's only one, but that doesn't exist though. There doesn't exist a place in space where I could find the number one. I can only find like one vaccine. Two vaccines. That's all. That's it. Like everything is by itself. It's a thing in itself. The pill bottle that's right next to me, the bottle of whiteout, that's one object, but there are many of them out there. So it becomes a really good, useful, logical trick, right? But it doesn't actually exist. So this is where we get into the notion of Platonic numbers, where numbers actually exist, or they're just useful hallucinations that we use. They're consistent because they come out of logic, right? So I don't know what he means by ontological mathematics. Again, he's quoting his own book, by the way, so we can just skip ahead.
So it's kind of a little self-glorification there, like you'd expect from Saul Alinsky or Ayn Rand.
That or Tara Warwick, or Styx Hexenhammer, whatever the hell his name is.
Although I've never heard Styx Hexenhammer quote himself.
I don't know. Well, yeah, obviously, because let's be frank, he's probably, in the grand scheme of things, he's not really doing much. I mean, I would rather have a talk with, let's say, what the hell's his name, Blavatsky, or fucking what's his name, not Jeremy Irons.
Oh, and hello to Matt Forney in the chat.
Hello, Matt Forney. Welcome, good sir.
He's about to lose it.
Oh, he's about to lose it? Oh boy, that's not good.
Let's see if he shall lose it now.
Keep going.
Here is why. So we know that reality is composed of mind, mental frequency components. And that we ourselves are minds. Now, the objects around you are all a product of our collective thought patterns, our collective frequency patterns. So the cup in front of you is a collective thought. It is formed by the collective frequencies of all the minds participating.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
No.
We're not gonna just cut through this fucking new age bullshit right now. A cup is a cup because you were told it's a cup. That's what that is. If to go with the whole trivia method for a second, basically, if I say that a tree is a tree and a cat is a cat, I'm correct. But if I say a cat is a tree and a tree is a cat, I'm wrong.
It's this basic law of identity.
Yeah, it's the law of identity, exactly. So shut the fuck up with your wavelength bullshit. Just get straight to the fucking point.
Yeah, A is A. A does not mean everyone says it's A. No, it's A in itself. It doesn't need our opinion to be A. It doesn't need our permission to be A.
Well, Matt, if you do come over here, I could probably hook you up with a laptop at some point. Come over to the Silicon Valley, we'll help you out. Yeah, I'll keep going.
All right.
In dollars.
Now, of course, the response to that is, well, the word A does not exist in the ether, so we had to invent the word A. Yeah, but we're talking about something that exists in reality. We're not just making up in our minds.
Yeah, and even then, A what? A what? The letter A? Well, you do know that the A is a representation of a word, right? Or a sound, like ah. I want to, like, don't you know this? Like, did you listen to Big Bird? Like, Big Bird taught me this in fucking what, like preschool. The g, r, like, you know, this is linguistics in general. Keep going.
And so, and in existence. So the idea here is that we, as minds, there is a distinction between the mind and body, such that our bodies are like the cup. It's formed by collective thoughts. However, we as eternal minds, monads, monadic minds, link to our bodies and use them as a vehicle to interact in this world. So our bodies are a vehicle for what we truly are. We are conscious because we have a body that has the capacity to facilitate a monadic link. We are conscious because we...
I want to slow this down.
This guy.
I want to slow this down because there's just so much to unpack in this. It's like, oh, no.
This guy... Again, there's a reason why I don't like academics, is because they fucking make simple concepts so fucking hard to understand.
They invent their own languages to describe reality. It's like, no, it's not, like, there's the reason why, like, the phrase, it's okay to be white doesn't affect normal people, but it does affect these academic types. It's like, yeah, what's wrong with being white? It's okay to be white. No, you don't understand whiteness is oppression. Like, what?
What? How'd you get that? And, you know, again, I know what he's getting at here. He's trying to say that our spirit is outside of our body, and therefore, like, we're linked in because of our brains. And we're going to transcend the ability to have a brain, but we'll still have consciousness.
Yeah,
it's a very Cartesian dualist.
Yeah, and apparently our bodies don't exist independently of our conscious collective decisions. It's like, what? Sure. Let's just go on.
Let's continue.
Have a construct that a mind can link to. A mind cannot link to the cup, and so the cup is not conscious.
How do you know?
We are conscious.
How do you know that the cup doesn't have consciousness?
Well, I mean, a cup doesn't have consciousness by definition because it's a cup.
Yeah, but you know, if we're gonna make shit up, why can't a cup have consciousness? How do you know? How can you perceive it? You know, without going full solipsism on you. Like, how do you know? Like, all you could, like, this is really ultimately, what was it, David Hume, who basically said that, what was it? The problem of induction, the induction fallacy. No matter how hard I say that every apple is red, when someone comes up to you and says, this is a Granny Smith, it's green, you know, you have to be willing to admit that's the case. Now, the biggest problem, and this is where I think that a lot of the New Age comes out of this, they have the ability to say, this is what that is, this is what that is, this is what that is. I get to say what it is. So I get to define what white oppression is. I get to define what racism is. It's this very I use the term authoritarian in the sense of they think they're the author of what is. They're not. You know, I could say it's God. I could say it's fairies, or I could just say it's a bunch of, you know, people on drugs making shit up.
Yeah, the people in the know get to decide what reality is, which is the whole point.
Yeah, exactly, and that's really where this New Age shit is really degenerate. I'll keep going.
Just by virtue of the fact that we are monadic minds that have linked to a body. So matter is mind.
Wait, did he say nomadic minds or what's the word he used?
Monadic. He was talking about monadic in the sense of the monad, which is a New Age Gnostic perspective. It's the idea that there was, in the beginning, there was one, and that one radiated and became many. Essentially.
Oh, so it's like a pantheistic interpretation of reality.
Exactly. The idea that you know, just how God created Adam, and then Adam named everything. Well, guess what? There was a deity, or there was a creature, or
an essence, or a center.
Exactly, and everything came out of that in relation to it.
I've often wondered about that. Like, did it grow? Did the matter change and grow into reality? Like, did the essence grow into matter, or did it expand into matter? Like, was that what the Big Bang is? Like, that's the moment where mind became matter, or something?
I don't know. I mean, you'd have to ask. I'm sure you could get 100 different answers from fucking.
But I guess. Oh, but technically, he thinks that our minds are not. He's saying that minds are not matter, and so our nomadic mind is like attached to this matter that we call our body, right?
Yeah. So basically, the idea is similar to how if I were to play a video game.
Well, electricity flows through a robot. It's like a mind is like electricity.
No, it's like you controlling a controller. The controller is the thing that sends the frequencies and the signals through the cable into or across the wavelengths, if you will, through Bluetooth into the console, and then that console processes what you're doing based on the actions. But the controller itself isn't the intelligence moving it. Does that make any sense?
Oh, okay.
It's very matrixy, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. Okay. I guess I get it.
Yeah,
but it's not conscious.
It's basically saying that it's the idea that your body is not you, that you are something higher, not your body. It's basically arguing that for the existence of a soul, but the soul is separate from the body, and therefore, your soul can inhabit different concepts or different constructs, if you will.
Yeah, it's like your body and your soul are completely distinct, and like your body and soul are not made for each other. They're just your soul just coincidentally is in this body.
Yeah, exactly. So this is where we get into the whole notion of I have a feminine soul and this guy doesn't have.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of the problems we're dealing with is because of the New Age.
Oh yeah, on the heart of the New Age is complete a libertarian autonomy.
Well, that's how they sell it to you, but the truth is it's not libertarian autonomy. It really isn't.
Well, I mean, it's like a twisted interpretation of the will, where it's like it's very communistic. Like the man is free, but is everywhere in chains. Like the will is free, but everywhere enslaved by the matter.
Yeah, So in order for us to break free from this shit, is we have to basically break out of reality, and the best way to do this is why we do drugs. This is why we do fucking.
Or in this case, the singularity, which is the hope that people have.
Yeah, so it's just hatred of reality. It's the raison d'être, if you will, the resentment of fate.
And the truth is, I do understand this resentment because I kind of wish I was born in a superhero universe. But the thing is, I probably would have gotten bored with that superhero universe and resented that too. It's
probably would have died.
Well, yeah, if I were born with superheroes. But then the thing is, it's this whole total lack of contentment because you're never happy with what God gives you because you wish you could have some say in how reality is.
Yeah, this is why I have more respect for Styx than I do for people like Morg, simply because Styx is the type of guy who acknowledges that there is a reality, and you can you can either accept it, you can either fight against it, or you could learn from it, and you could do a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B, and C even.
Well, at least Styx has twice as subscribers.
Yeah, exactly. Well, at least Styx doesn't have a fucking blue check mark.
Oh yeah. He does. Oh no, he has a check verified. Yeah, these people they're both verified, but right now at least Styx has the bigger audience, and although he deliberately restrains his content because he knows that YouTube doesn't like multiple videos.
Yeah, I'm at the point where I'm gonna do once a week on the podcast of the Renegade podcast, and maybe every other day on this podcast on this particular channel. Keep going.
So matter cannot develop consciousness because matter is collective thoughts, not a conscious mind.
And that's where we're going to have to disagree because, I would agree to this in that if we're going to say that God is a mind and create all of matter, but he's saying that we create matter. Which is kind of weird because in evolutionary sense we didn't technically exist. Or actually he would say we existed, we just didn't have bodies to inhabit yet.
Yeah, exactly. And again, a lot of this ultimately boils down to trying to become the creator, and by extension becoming creator, being the guy who's the author, and being the author, you become God.
Yeah, like so you will not surely die, for the new day you eat it, you will be like God, knowing good and evil.
Precisely. Well said.
A way to think about it is you are a mind. If you close your eyes and imagine a cup in your mind, that cup that you are imagining is not conscious.
I see you.
But it's made of your thoughts. That cup that you think cannot somehow generate its own sentience or consciousness and start having a will of its own in a...
Sure I can. It's called Cuphead. Cuppy. God, imagine Cuppy thinking about shit right now. I mean, isn't this what Toltas are?
But doesn't mean that Cuphead is not technically a cup.
Well, he has all the cup-like shapes. He has all the cup-like attributes.
Well, I mean, Cuphead can walk, he can talk.
So can the chip from fucking was it the Beauty and the Beast, right? Or
well,
yeah,
a human cursed to be a cup. So,
well, I mean, he was a cup, and I'm just saying. I mean, whenever he starts again, this is where you have to be very careful with these people who try to use mathematics and crap like that. They try to box you in a corner so that they have the ability to describe reality. It's with such clarity that eventually, because of your lack of knowledge, bad vocabulary, what have you, they're eventually going to try to hijack your ability to fight back. And you got to fight back against it. I mean, maybe I have to do a defense against the dark arts class or something like that on YouTube, where we basically can slap people around with fallacies.
A true way apart from you. That's impossible. Likewise, the cup on the table, it's a collective thought. No mind is controlling it. It's composed of the thoughts of all the monadic minds in existence. So that cup cannot generate consciousness on its own. So artificial intelligence is predicated on matter. And artificial intelligence cannot develop consciousness because artificial intelligence has no monadic mind controlling it.
How do you know?
It's like...
How do you know? How do you know the God in heaven is going to say, you know what, kid? When you're going to get reincarnated, you wanted something cool, right? We're going to give you the first artificial intelligence body that exists. And we're going to send you down from heaven in the Holy of Holies. And we're going to make you possess this fucking, I don't know, Amiga TurboGrafx 64 that has artificial intelligence on it. We're going to make you possess that. How do you know? You don't know. Now, ultimately, at the end of the day, again, without going into solipsism, you very well could argue that solipsism is the best way to look at reality. I would argue that, have faith that the person on the other end of this call is real. Have faith that they exist and respect them. If you do, I mean, this goes down to, I think it's the heuristics, biases and heuristics model versus just the purely rational model. When you're too rational to be rational. I guess that's where I'm at right now.
The cup. So we don't have to worry about artificial intelligence becoming conscious unless, there is some huge thing that we have overlooked. But that's very, very unlikely. It's not completely impossible, but it's very unlikely.
It's more likely than you might think.
So in our conception of ontological mathematics, as we currently understand it, artificial intelligence cannot generate consciousness. So we're not going to have a situation where AI becomes conscious, and then AI becomes the dominant species, and then AI takes over reality.
Well, actually, if matter becomes consciousness, then it would be able to make its own, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and even then, what ultimately will happen is you'll say, "Well, I define it as consciousness. I define it that way," and that's really ultimately what it boils down. I mean, let me ask you a question: are retards conscious? Are people in pre-vegetated states conscious? Are
technically
Down syndrome people conscious?
Technically,
you don't know. It's an article of faith to a certain degree. I mean, yeah, you could see some electricity going on in the brain, but that doesn't necessarily constitute consciousness, right? If you're really going to define the signals and pathways in your nervous system as consciousness, then this is where we get into Marie Shelley's Frankenstein shit, where if I get hit with lightning, I gain super consciousness, or in some cases I come back to life, and I could still kill Igor again. Fucking trying to frame Trump.
However, what is a possibility is that we could build something that could facilitate a monadic link. So imagine that
a monadic link with what?
Again, I don't think that's how it works, and I guarantee you, this is him trying to sell his services to fucking Zuckerberg. Say, put me on put me on a team, put me on a lead team, and I'll be able to make sure your product can have a monadic link.
You remember the game Soma?
Yeah.
Yeah, the thing about one of the premise is that you can copy your consciousness and transfer it over, have that copy transferred over to a machine or something else. But technically one of the gimmicks is that you could possibly transfer yourself, but a 9 times out of 50-50 chance you couldn't do that.
Yeah, you would copy yourself, but you wouldn't be Yeah,
your consciousness would be copied over.
well, yeah, exactly. So like, there's an instance in the game where like you have to swap like shell suits, right? You have to swap it from a a regular diver suit into a deep sea diving suit, and there's a point where your character he copies himself and it's an exact duplicate, and there's a point where you have to kill yourself.
Yeah, you hear your other self. You hear other self like, "Hey, what happened? Nothing happened," and so you have to make the choice to deactivate him and kill him.
Yeah, exactly. Which is really fucked up if you think about it. And at the same time, technically, you don't exist either. I mean, ultimately, you don't exist because you already died in, what, 2010 or whatever. Was it Ontario?
Yeah, he had brain cancer and died.
Yeah, he died in fucking Ontario, fucking Canada of all places. What the fuck? I don't know.
Create either robotic hardware or a virtual environment, such as a virtual avatar, let's say in the metaverse or something like this, that a monadic mind could link to.
Oh,
Now,
so I can...
so he's basically doing what I said he was going to do.
Soul detachment. Okay, so detach my soul from this body to another body, into the internet.
Does that mean that I could actually have John Steele become a talking sword on the metaverse?
Only if he wants to.
Yeah, I could have like John Steele be Stormbringer. He basically start ranting about the Jews and shit on fucking...
And it would be secretly sucking the souls of your allies.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Fucking A.
Now, that is theoretically possible. It is theoretically possible that we could create some sort of hardware or virtual environment that could facilitate a monadic link that a monad can
How are you
link
gonna
to.
test
Just like
this?
Assuming that we can separate our minds from our brains, because that's like the real question. Like it's almost like our minds are almost so. It's like the line between the mind and the brain is almost very thin.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, at what point do you need to have electricity running through your brain in order to facilitate consciousness? And at what point does consciousness act independently from your brain and your hardware?
And also, is there a distinction between your mind, your brain, your mind, and your soul?
These are deep questions, and I don't think the guy has the answer for them. I don't think a lot of people have the answer for them. The answer, there is faith, and faith is considered a good enough answer for me. Okay, and maybe he's gonna give me his faith on this matter.
Yeah, C.S. Lewis had the illustration that when the end comes, we'll see ourselves for what we truly are. And does that mean? And that could possibly mean that our souls will finally emerge as they are, and they will see us regardless of our mindset of ourselves.
All right. Let's keep going.
our bodies can facilitate a monadic link. But I want you to understand that that is completely different from AI developing consciousness. It would be then AI having the capacity for a mind to link to it. Big difference there.
Yeah, so Skyfall's not going to kill us.
Yeah.
That's good to know.
Yep.
So, AI cannot generate consciousness, but it is theoretically possible for it to establish, have the capacity for establishing a monadic link, for a mind to link to it, and using it as a vehicle, either as robotic hardware in the Holos or in a virtual environment, such as within the metaverse.
Or the Logos.
So what's very possible here
or the
is that it...
I'm sorry, we had to do it. I had to do it.
Oh, no, not again.
Yep.
It's not like we're going to develop AI and then AI will generate consciousness and then they will become the dominant race and obliterate humanity. Rather, it's very possible that what we are doing is developing our next generation of avatars.
Have you played either of the Doom games?
Yes, I have.
The new ones where Samuel Hayden.
Yep.
He basically is what this is, like a transference of intelligence to a robotic form.
Yeah, and now he's basically like again, Morg is basically going to get into the position where he's going to say, "I'd rather be an anime character, so therefore I'm going to get an anime character body off of the fucking metaverse or some." Again, I hate to say this, but the closest thing I will ever get to like swapping who I am and what I'm all about is I'm going to hold on to my heart. I'm going to hold on to my brain. If you can swap my arms, you could swap my legs, you could swap my fucking, you dick if you want. Go fucking full on. What's it? Robo, not guy Robo. What the fuck is his name? It's full on freaking cyberpunk if you want. That's fine. You could do that. But I'm keeping my heart and I'm keeping my brain because that's what makes me human.
You're
Okay.
only temporarily disabling the tower. You need to remove each lens individually. Carefully release the hinges.
Warning. Energy contamination detected.
Destroying the production of Argent energy isn't necessary.
Well, it is if you want to have the metaverse and the singularity. Let's continue.
Because think about it. Right now, evolution has been an unconscious process that has produced our human bodies, and these human bodies facilitate a monadic link. So now we, being conscious entities, we are the hand of evolution, but we can be the conscious guiders of evolution.
Gee, where have I heard this before?
Where have you heard it before?
Isn't this kind of the same argument that every single, like the implicit notion that every single socialist ideology is predicated on? That we can advance our societal evolution?
Well, a lot of that comes from, I think, what the hell is his name? The guy who did the Conquest from Bread. He had his own notion of, it's a really interesting read. I'd recommend it even if you're not like a communist, right? The Conquest of Bread. I think it's Peter Kripal, whatever the fuck his name is. He basically said that humans evolve collectively. It's like he has a collectivist notion of evolution that people can evolve to better help each other. If that makes any sense. So we actually could create the Soviet new man as actually a real Soviet new man, somebody who has epigenetically been changed in such a way that they favor socialism or they favor collective, the collective good as opposed to the natural state of I'm a human being, I'm a dog, I have that. What separates me from him is intelligence and a couple of quadrupedal, but really ultimately is he will defend itself no matter what, and I'm the one who could actually choose to sacrifice my life. Yeah, I could choose to lay down my life for a cause that's not my own. The dog won't do that. The dog will, fight for its genes. It will fight in the corner if you back into a corner, but ultimately speaking, it's again, it's very similar to how the socialists want to change man.
It's also trying to be a secular interpretation of how Christian ethics came about.
Explain. I don't follow.
I mean, one of the things you get in the book Dominion, which is basically a atheist explaining the history of Christianity in the world, is that even though the West doesn't call itself Christendom, it is still Christendom because our entire ethics stems from the idea that God became man and died on a cross, and all our ethic systems have the implicit assumptions of Christianity in them. I mean, even the most radical atheist, even the feminists, the atheists, and all these un-American elements, they are all still evolving out of this assumption of the Christian ethic. Even communism is an attempt to try to remove itself from the evils of the world to a greater world, and it's all a mutation of the Christian thought. It's Christian ethics complete unmoored from its metaphysical assumptions.
Yeah, so essentially we're trying to,
they're trying to secularize like, oh, we would have naturally come up to the idea that we should love our neighbor as ourselves. Like, no. And I liked how one poet put it, love your neighbor is not a statement of the obvious, it's a commandment and only makes sense because it stems from the first commandment, love your God.
Yep. Well said.
Technology is part of an evolving world, a teleotic evolving world. Technology is what we create. And so it is very possible that, the next phase of evolution, as far as avatars, won't be some kind of biological development, but rather a technological one. In that as we create AI in virtual environments and robotics, most likely virtual environments, that we will be able to create something that will establish a monadic link. And so, again, it is very, very possible that what we are doing is creating the next generation of our avatars. So really what that would mean is that, let's say one dies and incarnates, they would not incarnate, say, in a human body, but rather in whatever new avatar is developed. So it wouldn't be
implying you have a choice. Again, implying you get to choose
that you even can remove your mind from your body.
That, and also that you have a choice. Like again, short of like genetic inheritance, like if I fuck a chick, right, and she has certain ethnic traits, and she has certain, whether it be she has, certain abnormalities, let's say, or she has a certain blood type, for example, that passes on to the kids in some cases. It's inheritable. There are inheritable traits that happen. So the real question I have is, I can understand you transferring your consciousness. That's one thing. It's another thing for, this civilization here in the Milky Way galaxy decided to create a new body that you can inhabit. Who wants to have first dibs? I don't think there's like a place where you can actually get consciousnesses from. I don't think it's like, you were created and then you were sent to Earth by God or something like that to be a better person or something like that. I don't think that's the case. I don't think there's a place where consciousnesses are coming out of, the Platonic world of forms and into reality. And as we know it today, I don't think that's the case. I don't think that, it's like a reincarnation. If it was reincarnation, it makes sense, right? Because there'd be a place where you'd have to go take a ticket and then say, hey, we're waiting for the respawn line, right?
That makes sense. That makes sense. Assuming the new age, it makes sense if pantheism is true and they were constantly shifting. But if it's not true, then we're kind of stuck.
Yeah, exactly. Let's finish the sucker out.
Big difference here is that it's not technology that will overtake. It's that we will be using technology as a tool to facilitate our mental evolution. We are always minds. We are eternal minds. Doesn't matter what we link to. We could link to a frog. We could link to a cat. We could link to a dog. We could link to a human. We could link to some sort of technological advancement. We are still eternal minds.
Press X to doubt.
I doubt. And I'll tell you the reason why. There's actually a wonderful Greek parable called the Ship of Theseus. You know what the Ship of Theseus is?
What was that?
Go put up on Google. Pull up Ship of Theseus.
Ship of Theseus.
I think it's the Ship of Theseus. It's a philosophy puzzle. The idea behind it is that you have a ship by this guy named Theseus, and you replace every board and nail on that ship with a different board and nail. At what point is it the same ship?
Well, isn't it? Like the same ship?
No, it's not. Because if you replace all, like materially speaking, if you replace all the components from your original iPhone, is it the same iPhone? No, it's not. You've swapped out the last part. So, like, as long as there's one diode still in there and in the original phone, you can then still claim it's the same phone. But if, let's say, for instance, I create an identical ship, made from the same material. Again, this boils down to identity. It boils down to the character of identity. At what point are you still you? I think it takes like 130 or 140 days for you to shed all your skin cells. That means you're a different person. Your cells die and they regenerate. So it's not the same. So this is some heavy shit. So a lot of people, get deceived very quickly, and they also, get flustered and stumped very easily.
I guess the way to solve the problem is just the mere matter of a feature of consciousness was ownership. Like, it's my ship and it doesn't change just because I replace every part in it.
Yeah, I guess or I should say authorship.
Authorship. Oh yeah, I like the authorship. That's a good one.
Because I say it's Theseus' ship, I can decide that is my ship.
Yeah, I'm Theseus. That's my ship. Just because you replace every board, it doesn't change the fact that it's still my ship.
Yeah, you could argue it's an entirely different ship. Fine, but it's still my ship. Exactly. That's how I would do it.
These bodies,
these are our bodies. This is my body, and it's going to be mine. Even if I replace my arms and legs with robotic parts, it's still my body.
Exactly.
Avatars are just vehicles for our mental development and evolution. So technology itself is not the thing that will gain consciousness and take over, but rather, again, if we establish this technology that can facilitate a monadic link, it is that we will be able to create a next generation of avatars, whether that's a robotic avatar or a virtual avatar within a virtual environment. We will be able to create a new phase of avatars to facilitate our mental development. So you see the big difference. I really want to get this across because some people might be a little fuzzy on it, but technology is not the end. Technology is a tool that facilitates mental evolution. Just like our bodies are a tool.
Let me ask you this. Is that your own idea, or does someone else gave it to you? Like, again, this is actually where we get really deep, because how much of your ideas is your own ideas? How much of it is something that your father told you, your habits that you got through idiosyncratic notions of the world? How much of it has been what your teacher from 3rd grade taught you? How much of it's stuff that your own personal preference? How much of it is drives? These are things that, he's assuming that if you attach yourself to a machine, that you're still Morg, you're still the Dashing Rogue, you're still Artistic Layman. When you attach yourself to something like that and you alter your chemistry, or even for that matter, well, actually, this is actually a good point. If I drank a lot of alcohol, am I still the same person? If I'm drunk? No, of course not. You would say that spirit of rum or, vodka or Samuel Adams possessed you. There's a reason why we call them spirits.
Mm-hmm.
Are you the same person when you're on LSD? No, you're not. No, you are technically you are. You know what, Luke? The whole ownership angle behind that really does make me. I gotta actually look into that, because that's actually a very profound statement you've made. Like, I always thought it was authorship, but authoring something and owning and being responsible for something is an entirely different angle I never thought of.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, at least we got something out of this. Let's just continue.
For us to get around and communicate that facilitates our mental evolution. So what the true singularity is not any kind of technological singularity, but rather it's a singularity of mind. And I've talked about this before, but what eventually happens, and when we're...
That is probably the one good thing I did get from Ayn Rand, is that the way you could identify yourself is your mind's ability to claim and own things and possess things and remake things, because that's how you do. That can be function as a groundwork for identifying what is and what isn't. Which that kind of goes into the hyper rationalism I kind of go into, but yeah, it's a really good place to start.
I think it is. I really do think it is.
We're going to see this as the metaverse is a stepping stone to this. We together exist on this planet as eternal minds. We grow and evolve together, and we become more in sync and more harmonized. Eventually, we will evolve to the point where we form our own monadic collective or group mind, and we can generate our own internal frequency realm, our own internal dream world. And
I don't think it. I'm sorry. No, I don't think you will. And even if you did make bring in Razorfist, bring Razorfist in.
Yeah, well, he just got a quote, paraphrase what I was just saying.
It's property. It's about the concept of property itself. Why the fuck do you think cranial body horror is so harrowing in fiction and film? Because the mind is not only a man's property, it's about the only property no other earthly man can touch without our consent. If our minds are affected by others, it's because we permit them to be. No one penetrates the perimeter without a by your leave from our fucking id. But the Antifa-tards and the party of pot that calls itself the libertarians these days, in arguing against IP, miss the point hardest when they fail to acknowledge that all property is intellectual property. If a man's mind is his primary interface with the world and preeminent instrument of survival, then it's not with his brawn, but with his intellect.
I've decided I'm going to send a link to fucking... I'm going to ask this question next time Razorfist has a super chat open. I'm going to ask him, in the concept of the ship of Theseus, do you think that the ship of Theseus is yours because you say it is, in the sense of ownership? Or do you think it's yours because the logical puzzle defines it as Theseus's ship? Like, I'll have to look at it better, but I think this would be something that he would very much like to answer. I think he is intelligent enough to know.
Not with his biceps, but with his brain that he builds a bicycle, recognizing the physical property that results from it, but not the primacy of the intelligence that created it, is like blaming the bee to nut sweat on the sack of your progenitor for your fucking birth, rather than the will of your parents themselves.
Yeah, and again, Razorfist over Morg any day. Any fucking day.
Absolutely a stepping stone to this. Because this will all be, of course, technology is going to play a huge part in this development. It's silly to think that it won't. It will play a huge part in this development. And so what the mental singularity is, truly what the mental singularity is the end of space and time, and all matter being converted to mind across the entire universe, returning to the state that was prior to the Big Bang. That is the true mental singularity. And this is facilitated by our mental evolution.
It's always weird, like, if we're going back to the original state, like, so the Big Bang was a bad thing? Like, didn't that allow us to come into existence?
It's that Gnostic shit, man. It's that fucking Gnostic notion of, oh, well, things are so bad and things are so horrible. If we just need to get rid of the material and just go live.
We were so much happier in the womb. We should never have been born.
Yep, it's that self-hatred shit. That's that resentment, resentment of life. You know.
Yeah, it actually reminds me of that one early scene from The Simpsons where Homer is dreaming about him being still being like swimming around like peacefully in his mother's womb, and all of a sudden he's born. Like, no, I don't want to come out, please. I don't want to be born.
Yeah, it's very similar to that in a lot of ways.
And of course, I saw that when I was like 10, and that was terrifying.
Yeah, I'd imagine, man. It's fucking spooky.
And only children could buy that, like think that like being alive is a bad thing, and how only children would actually think that being a physical body is bad, because that's kind of where this mentality comes from, doesn't it?
Yeah, a lot of it comes from this childish mentality that there's natural consequences and whatnot. I don't know.
Matter is just fractured mind. It's mind that is non-optimized. It is mind that is out of harmony and out of sync. When mind is in perfect harmony, perfect sync, and perfect unity.
And there's also this kind of hatred of matter. It's like so stupid.
You know, God loves matter. He invented it. Fucking A.
Like when Jesus was resurrected, he ate food. I mean, he didn't hate it.
Yeah, exactly. You know. Sheesh.
Matter vanishes, and we enter into a realm of pure mind. And we can see that humanity is developing further and further and further. And first, it will occur with us as a group mind. We together will form a group mind and be able to step away from a material existence and generate our own dream world. So that will be sort of our own personal mental singularity in a certain way. But then that has to happen across the entire universe as well. So it's not just once humans achieve this apotheosis moment, it's not like the entire universe vanishes. No, that will just be for us in creating our own collective group mind dream world. And for the true singularity to happen across the entire universe, it has to happen for every monadic mind in existence, which means all other races and species across all planets, across the universe.
Assuming there are any.
Yeah, assuming there are any.
Everywhere, all places. So once humanity achieves it, it's not like it's the end. That's not the end. We will then just be focused on another level, most likely.
Oh, but what happens if we accidentally bring a demon or a spirit?
Yeah, I mean, how do we know that we go in there and it's like logging onto the internet with Internet Explorer for the first time and then getting jumped by basically getting fucking goat-seed by every virus known to man?
Yeah, this actually reminds me, like, the pastor I like to listen to, he was really engaging in, like, really, like, weird stuff and drug stuff, and he said, I learned some things that I did things that I would never recommend to any of you, and I found out that there were things out there, and they are not friendly.
Yep, they're hostile towards humanity.
Likely, we will then begin interactions with other group minds and things of that nature as we start to play the game of life on a higher level. So our personal mental singularity isn't the end of everything. It's the beginning of a new phase of the game of life. It's a new phase where we start interacting on a higher level, playing at a higher level. We stop playing checkers and we start playing chess. Now,
yeah, well, like Event Horizon, we accidentally open up a portal to hell. Like, oh.
Yep.
It's not going to happen, but that would be scary if that was a potential potential thing in this whole AI stuff.
Yeah, like we basically pull a Doom.
And the AI is a demon that gets physical form. It's like, that's all these humans.
We have cyber demons and shit.
Oh no.
I know.
The mental singularity across all of existence is the end of space-time in general and converting all matter into a purely mental existence. And
so I can turn my computer into mind?
I don't know.
I guess. Like, all matter is apparently fractured mind, so maybe we can correct everything. Yeah, it's going back to the womb of existence. Like,
Yeah, it's just hatred of life. It really boils down to hatred or disdain for life. Not wanting to better oneself, but not wanting to change. It's really sad at the end of the day if you really get down to, like, why do you hate Mander so much? Well, because it's imperfect. Well, isn't that the whole point? Don't you want to make it perfect? Don't you want to strive to be better? It's really fucking sad.
We can see that the metaverse is absolutely a big catalyst towards this, in that it is.
Either that's a big selling point for Facebook.
That's how you get all the hippies and shit to join.
Generating a virtual environment.
It's how you get people to buy chocolate, despite the fact that hippies to buy chocolate, despite the fact it's still made by child labor, or how you still get them buy iPhones, despite the fact they're still made by slave labor.
Yeah, it's good for the environment. They're actually helping out.
It's good for workers' rights. They get treated fairly at the workplace.
Yeah, we actually hang up a freaking suicide net when they jump off the buildings.
And we're, starting to step further and further away from reliance on the material world and being able to generate our own avatars, being able to interact with each other, etc. Now, I want to make it very clear that when it comes to the metaverse, I'm not opposed to the metaverse. I am pro the metaverse. However, I am against those who will run the metaverse. Big corporations like Facebook's Meta.
Someone has to run
What
it.
do you
But someone has to.
care?
But that's
What
the
the
thing. Someone has to run it.
What does he care? No, real talk. What does he fucking care? Why would you care? You're in a higher state of consciousness. What do you care about those peons below? Oh, wait, they're gonna pull the plug on your little shit, isn't it?
Or like that
That's
one.
What you're
Oh
frightened
yeah,
of.
and that one little scene from The Matrix where Cypher is talking to Agent Smith. He says, "I know the steak isn't real. I know the Matrix is telling me that's juicy and delicious. But you know what I've learned? Ignorance is bliss."
Yep. That's exactly what's going on. And that's what he's frightened of. He wants to be stuck in his dream world with his fucking pirate waifus.
He wants to be in the Matrix while simultaneously managing it. Like, yeah, I don't think it works that way, dude.
You can't have your cake and eat it too.
You can't be a mortal and a god at the same time. It doesn't work that way.
No, you can't.
I mean, a lot of stories are predicated on that, but even the greatest most interesting god characters have limitations.
Yep.
It's Meta now. They're obviously going to try and monopolize the market. And when, basically if you have private interests and corporate interests in charge of reality, that's a really bad move, because now you're not going to have a reality that is optimized towards giving you the best experience and is concerned about your actualization and growth. They will only be concerned about feeding you advertisements so that you can consume products, and it will be inhibitive to your growth. So the metaverse, as owned by private
yeah, because you should be a spirit, you shouldn't be consuming anything. Like, yeah, sure.
Shit.
Like, it's always weird how consumerism is a vice that everyone condemns, but no one really needs to prop up. But it's like, no, we need to consume things. What you're talking about is like the pure materialism of, I only need consumer items to be happy. Which, of course, I disagree with, but that's not what you're saying. You're saying it's wrong to consume generally.
Yeah, it's like, oh my god, how dare you? That was crazy.
I have to eat to live. This isn't fair.
There's not enough food to go around. I mean, there's a lot of this hatred of the materialism, and a lot of it boils down to limits of materialism. Limits of material reality. You need
Nature,
money
just
to...
limits of the physical world. It's like limitations of the creations. Like,
You can only have so much space to grow crops. Make sure you grow enough corn and not just, growing tobacco or fucking weed.
Interests is a negative. However, the metaverse in general is absolutely not a negative. It's a next step in beginning our evolution towards unity and collective actualization. So you can absolutely...
Oh, that actually reminds me of that scene from We Happy Few, where you realize the crops are dead, but people still have enough drugs to keep them sedated. So like they're starving themselves, but they're still happy.
Yeah. That's sort of the issue, is that these people are so... They hate material reality so much, and I think a lot of it boils down to they have too much time on their hands. They're like, I hate reality.
They have too much, but it's never enough. Like, I need more free time. I need all my free time.
Yeah, exactly. And even then, it's just, I don't think so. I don't know.
Bet that I and many Hyperions will be using the metaverse to spread information, just like we use social media right now to spread information.
Until someone calls you out for medical misinformation.
And you'll give us a lot of material to respond to, which since you have nothing to say, as you're constantly quoting yourself.
Yep.
And that's very important to realize that we need to use these things as tools to spread the information that we need to in order to wake up the world. I also want to point out and I always say this, but I also want to point out
is that an expression of his dependency on nature by taking a drink?
I don't know. I mean, maybe he
does he hate does he hate the fact that he has to take a drink?
Does he hate the fact that yeah, I mean, does he hate that's a good question. Does he hate the fact? I don't know.
When the metaverse first starts, it's going to be probably rather silly. Just like when the first phones came out, they were, clunky and could hardly do anything except make calls and barely text. When phones first came out, cell phones, they couldn't even text. They were huge. So when the metaverse first, really comes out, it's probably going to seem kind of silly at first, and like all these things we talk about could never happen. But look what happened with cell phones. It will happen eventually, even if it starts and then fails. It might be even called something else other than the metaverse. Who knows? But whatever, this is something that will happen at some point. And as it seems right now, at least, it will begin very, very soon. Now, I also want to talk about.
He's getting his notes.
Because remember, in just the last stream, I was talking about how eventually, I was saying in our last stream on the metaverse, I said, imagine a time where not only are you plugged in just virtually and visually, but imagine if you wore some kind of suit that allowed you to feel everything within the metaverse. And I started talking about how the metaverse could very well start replacing this reality if you become so immersed again that it becomes indistinct.
I've talked about it multiple times on this podcast just recently. But what's going to happen when you actually feel pain for cussing on the metaverse? Like if there's like a physical swear jar where every time you cuss, you get like an electric zap. Like think about that, Luke. Every time I say the N word on the metaverse, I immediately get fucking hit. I immediately get like socked in the gut.
I mean, when he does this, I'm always reminded of that scene of the telescopic evolution from Waking Life. Remember that movie?
No, I don't.
Well, the retro motion animation where we talked with this guy went to all these different philosophers and his perspectives of life, and the whole thing was like a surreal, like philosophical inquiry. But everything he's doing is almost this video word for word.
If we're looking at the highlights of human development, you have to look at the evolution of the organism and then at the development of its interaction with the environment. Evolution of the organism will begin with the evolution of life, proceed through the hominid, coming to the evolution of mankind. Old evolutionary paradigm, one would die and the other would grow and dominate. But under the new paradigm, they would exist as a mutually supportive, non-competitive grouping, independent from the external. And what is interesting here is that evolution now becomes an individually centered process, emanating from the needs and the desires of the individual, and not an external process, a passive process where the individual is just at the whim of the collective.
And it's just repackaging old stuff. It's nothing new.
Yeah. Again, there's something new under the sun. Is there?
Distinguishable from regular, typical reality, typical space-time. And so I was talking about, imagine a suit you could wear that could feel and everything. And probably a lot of people thought that was super far-fetched or whatnot, or even some sort of, maybe via a neural link or something like that, some sort of brain augmentation to replicate sensation. But take a look at this. Meta's sci-fi haptic glove prototype lets you feel VR objects using air pockets. And here we can have a visual of this. Very, very interesting. Says you.
And here's where the new avenue for the porn industry comes in.
Oh yeah, I want to be able to. You could buy like fucking dildo or like I guess it's like masturbation toys based off of Sasha Grey and shit like that. No, like you could they literally have like molds of like women of like female porn stars vaginas.
Yeah,
and they actually have like the physical dick of like John Holmes or something like a dildo in John Holmes' fucking like mold or what have you. Right. So imagine if they actually like tried to get like porn stars and say every woman on the metaverse can feel like Pamela Anderson. I'm like, yeah, that's right. Damn.
Cannot pet a dog in Meta's new high-tech virtual reality gloves, but researchers are getting closer. Meta, formerly Facebook, is known for its high-profile moves into virtual and augmented reality. For 70.
Now, this would be very beneficial to people who are paralyzed. I can imagine this would be a great source of relief and comfort for them.
Yeah, they'd be able to fucking pet a cat or pet a dog. They'd be able to, hear. Like it reminds me of. Do you remember? I think it was Black Ops 3. Remember that Black Ops 3 trailer? I think it's called Fire. I'll send it to you. Keep going.
Oh, and also it reminds me of like the Wall-E, where the people in the hover chair is just the elderly person who can't walk, but then you go to the ship and realize like no, everyone's using them because they don't want to walk instead.
Yep.
Years, though, it has been quietly working on one of its most ambitious projects yet, a haptic glove that reproduces sensations like grasping an object and running your hand along a surface.
Oh, wait, I'll play the other video you posted here, though.
This is what I think is going to happen. This is really what it boils down to.
Let's see. Mankind's greatest mistake will be its inability to control the technology it has created.
Oh boy.
He's leaving every man in the pack behind. What a show of dominance!
Allegations of doping continue.
What has happened to sports? Should the record still count?
Today, we celebrate the first draft of the Human Book of
Although I do wonder about that, though. Like, the whole question of fairness and that. But what if we just get to the point where part of the endurance and part of the excellence of academic training is how many drugs you can pack into your system?
Yeah. No, legitimately. Keep playing it.
It's been called the age of wearable technology.
Amazing things happen when we merge technology with our body.
We will set the technological foundation for an enhanced human experience, and we will end disability.
How does that sound?
No, that I can get behind, because that's nice. That's a noble goal.
Yeah, again, it is. It really is. Keep going.
It sounds good.
In our pursuit of progress, if we undermine the morals that define us, what good is our beloved progress then?
Court declared.
Or the words of Christ, was it profit a man to gain the whole world and lose his soul?
Yep.
Discrimination against modified persons unconstitutional.
A historic day in sports as the IBA becomes the first league to allow modified athletes to compete.
There she is, the fastest human in history. After all the debate, all the controversy, victory.
But this is actually a good segue into like trans athletes. Like,
yeah,
because it would only be fair if everyone is modified. It's not fair that only one person is modified.
Yep. Now watch, continue.
Scientists announced they created the first networked brain-to-brain connection. You can now literally share your thoughts with someone else.
Oh, you don't want to know my thoughts. You don't want to know those.
Don't think about sex. Don't think about sex. Don't think about sex. Meow 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 meow.
Oh, like the sex is the least of their concerns.
Don't think about sex with inanimate object here. Insert job. Insert.
Tech market skyrockets as DNA upgrades and organ replacements become the new luxury.
You look at me and you see only what you want to see. But you know what I see? Everything.
The 2055 retinal implant from Court Upland.
Massive blast at Bionics firm Coalescence Corporation sparks worldwide protest.
We can no longer stand in silence as these scientists play God. This is not about technology. This is about right and wrong.
You think the retinal chips that you buy at the mall are high-tech? Our military is light years ahead of that. The things that we use to heal ourselves, they are using to literally turn humans into weapons.
The notion that the United States sponsors some sort of super soldier program is not just untrue, it's patently absurd. Next question.
That I do not believe. No one would ever believe that this day and age.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't believe that now. Do you really think you're going to believe that decades in the future?
Yep.
Neural control. Voluntary limb replacement. This is happening. The only question that remains is how far will we allow it to go?
Well, that's really not up to you, is it?
What? No, it's not. And going back to the whole notion of self-ownership, who's to say that once you download your consciousness into a, let's say, an immaterial reality, or let's say a silicon reality?
Yeah, nobody needs a brain implant. You just want because everyone else has one.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, why did you join Facebook? Because everyone else is on Facebook. Why did MySpace die? Even though it's technically a superior technology. You could actually have build your own and customize your own space if you wanted
I mean,
to.
it's not technically dead. People still use it though.
They do, but it's not even the shell. It's a shell of its former self. Okay.
It's still going. It's still. I mean, no one. Obviously, it's not the place to go, but still, people still use it though.
Yep. And I said I was gonna make one, remake one, I should say, but I don't know. Keep going. Black Ops 3, which was one of the worst versions of Black Ops. By the way,
It's so weird that these commercials. It's how weird how these commercials are. Were these commercials trying to convince us or trying to warn us or get used to the idea of this technology existing?
That'd be like going into predictive programming and shit like that. And truth be told is that, if you look into all, like, the founder of sci-fi, what was his name, H.G. Wells, he was big into he was a eugenicist and he was a futurist and all these other things. And, even he injected a lot of his own bullshit into his own ideology into his literature. I mean, the Morlocks and the fucking Eloy from the Time Machine, they were based off of the working class and the bourgeois class. And the working class were the Morlocks, even though we know that the Morlocks would survive no matter what. And the working class would probably be the first ones that killed the fucking Eloy. But again, he injected a lot of this crap into it. How much of this is a warning? How much? Let's just call it a signal. Call it what it is, a signal. I don't know, keep going.
All right.
While Meta's not letting the glove out of its Reality Labs research division, the company is showing it off for the first time today. I just love this, by the way. It's just so interesting. Their company's called Meta. It's called Reality Labs. I mean, it's so obvious that where this is headed, even though many people think that it's far-fetched. But anyway, the company is showing off for the first time today, and it sees the device alongside other wearable tech as the future of VR and AR interaction. At a simplified level, Meta's haptic prototype is a glove lined with around 15 ridged and inflatable plastic pads known as actuators. The pads are arranged to fit along the wearer's palm, the underside of the fingers, and their fingertips. The glove also acts as a VR controller. The back features a small white markers that let cameras track how the fingers are moved through space, and it's got internal sensors that captures how the wearer's fingers are bending. Now, again, here's another image of this, and this is extremely interesting. Now, again, this might look, this is a prototype. It's very clunky. And you know what?
Although there might be a problem in the whole, being able to touch things, because I guess if you're paralyzed, you wouldn't be able to move your hand unless he's arguing that you can actually, your modalistic mind can transfer to a visual body and move itself, which is another another huge leap entirely.
Yep. And, I'll keep going.
Probably doesn't work all that well. But like I said, this is just the beginning. Remember when cell phones first came out and they were these huge clunky things that couldn't even text? And look, some 20 odd years later, phones are extremely powerful and have absolutely, smartphones have taken over. So while this is a prototype, might look kind of clunky, if you have foresight, you can see where this is headed. So Meta...
And realistically, like every other technological advancement, I'll wait till it's available in the bargain bin.
Yep. Wait till it's available in the bargain bin.
Metaverse, this is an extremely important thing to keep an eye on. Now, we're not going to have some kind of technological singularity where AI overtakes by developing consciousness, but as I said, this is something very important to take a look at, because this is sort of a transitioning point to a new phase of existence in where there's a lot of possibilities on the table, such as VR environments overtaking physical reality, or sort of replacing it in a certain way, and when we rely on it more than physical reality, and also the very big possibility, very, very big possibility that what we are doing is developing new avatars, a new phase of avatars, whether that is robotic
he just wants to have a new body already. He wants to be a real boy.
It's basically if the Matrix was voluntary and there were no AI machines forcing us into it.
Yeah.
And there was a Bruce Willis movie about symbiotes. You actually have avatar surrogates. That's the word, and it's basically the same except not VR. You just get to have your nice physical body in the physical world. But now I guess this is like taking that to it's all going to be on the internet. There's not going to be real that's kind of boring.
Yeah, I call me an old-fashioned old-timer, but I want the real thing.
I kind of like my matter. I kind of like mass. I kind of like all that old stuff.
Yeah, me too.
I think is more likely
Because I mean, if I am going to be immortal, I'd rather be immortal in matter and not in like immortal in like a fictional context.
Yeah, exactly.
Virtual environment, some sort of virtual environment. So, extremely important to understand that humanity is misguided with its idea of what technology is and the idea of a technological singularity. We are eternal minds. Technology itself is not the thing that is going to become conscious and overtake reality. Technology is a tool.
And like, were we eternal minds?
No,
really?
No,
we
weren't. I mean, I ultimately, the whole reason I brought this guy to your attention specifically in this case was that he's the type of guy who will enable Zuckerberg to steal your data and maybe even your soul. I mean, if what he says is true, that your mind is a connection, how much of this crap is Zuckerberg going to harvest?
Oh yeah, we're just gathering it. We're not using it.
Yeah, we're not going to know what your sins you committed and shit like that.
We don't want your like. Oh, that scene from Batman Forever. It's like sexual fantasies and little white lies. Into my head they'll go. Victory is inevitable.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's pretty much that. I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, I'm basically done with this because he's just going to. But in any case,
our growth and development as eternal minds, just like our bodies are tools that facilitate our development as eternal minds.
Oh yeah, so we'll be like L. Ron Hubbard. He voluntarily discards his body.
Yeah, he voluntarily discards his body and jumps into a volcano.
And that's the official story, by the way, that he chose to leave his body as opposed to dying of a stroke.
Jeez. All right, I think we're about done. Luke, do you have any final thoughts?
I think I do, and hopefully I saved it properly.
Right.
Nonsense! How
else? No. Where is that scene I saved?
Because if raising the price of gasoline means fewer people buy gas, and raising the price of cigarettes means fewer people buy cigarettes, then raising the price of labor means we've solved poverty and you're a neoliberal bigot for disagreeing with such a policy?
Really? Again, I don't even know what the definition of neoliberal is, and I don't really care, honestly, because at the end of the day, there are policies that I don't want.
Oh, that's a great nightmare. These SJW types getting access and making political movements in the digital world. Like, oh, please, go away. I go into the virtual world to get away from you people.
Yep.
Can't escape these they're the real viral memes. Like, they can't get rid of them.
Yep. All right, ladies and gentlemen, be good to one another, take care of one another. Remember, saving the West is a side quest. I'm going to be streaming on here from now on. This is the Digital Renegade podcast. Out.